Hello, everyone. How is everyone doing? How is everyone doing? I know I'm a bit early. I know I'm a bit early. I have some things I need to try out here. Then, of course, we'll get into it. Let me see who we got. All right. Hello. All right. Can't hear. Can't hear me. Can't hear me. Oh, you can hear me? Yeah. Oh, good. Good. Okay. Okay. Whew. For a second there. Um. Excellent. Hello, folks. All right. I've been trying. I'm trying out a few things. If you give me a moment here, we will get into the good stuff. Uh, all right. Does it sound too quiet, folks? That's if it sounds too quiet, I can up the sound. Let me do that. Let me do that now. I will up my voice a bit if it is too quiet. Let me see what I can do here. Um, does that make it a bit better? Let me see. How does that sound? Is that good? Can we hear me better now? Let me see here. Oh, you know what, Macy, you're right. Let me do this real fast. I think I have a dehumidifier on. Give me a second. Hopefully that worked a bit. Does that sound better, folks? We good? All right. Let me see who we have here today. We got Alice, of course, of course. Hello, Alice. Good morning to you, Macy. Of course, love you, Macy. Leah Lane, love to see you too, Leah Lane. Big Braden, yay! Big Braden's here. I know you'll probably have to go to work pretty soon. Matt Guy, hey, Matt Guy, glad to see you as well. Who else we got? We got Shut. Hello, Shut. Good to see you. Um, Shut has generously volunteered to be one of the moderators on the in the live chat, so everyone bow down to Shut. um, Rain in chaos. Great to see you. Um, see here, we got Jay Shadow. Jay Shadow from yesterday. I think you've probably been in the chat before, Jay Shadow, but uh, I remember that you were here yesterday. Let me see who else. We also got. Yeah, the Missourians are talking about stuff. Resident Union Thug, hello. Resident Union Thug is also a chat moderator today, so thank you, Resident Union Thug. Get out those truncheons, okay? And AMA Gaming, hello, AMA Gaming. Matt, I already mentioned Matt the Sci Guy. Who else? Who else? Who else? All right. Right now, we only got 12 people on here. That is not a problem, but hopefully, we'll get a few more here soon. I know I kept kind of switching. I kept switching around the time and stuff because I've been kind of experimenting with some new things. Hello, AMA Gaming. Hello. Okay. Let me. Like I said, I'm trying out some things here. Let me see. I wanted to, per the recommendation of someone, I added a. I'll show you all. Uh, so first of all, let me get rid of that. I don't need that. Remove. There we go. Remove. Yes. Okay. So if you can see here on the screen at the bottom, yeah, I could change that a little bit. It's not. I could put it up a little higher. I just decided it might be nice to have a little thing that displays what the topic we're discussing is for new folks that come into chat. Does that look good? Does everyone like that? I tried to put it out of the way so it's not too much in the way. Um, do we feel like that looks good? We can handle that? Yeah, Matt Guy, we're going to talk about that. And I really appreciate the help you gave me in sort of breaking it down. There were some other folks too who were very helpful. Um, So yeah, thank you all for that. Again, folks, we do have a super chat goal, of course. Again, we if we get 5 super chats, I will put on the jester hat. If we get 10, I will put on the jester collar. And if we get, I don't know, what what should I say? If we get, how about this? If we get 20, I'll take my shirt off. I'm not, I'm even dead serious. It's fine with me. Or, oh, you know what I could do? I could say if we do get to if we get to okay, now this is going to sound super capitalist of me and super very much like I'm trying to get money out of all of you. But hey, if it's just taking my shirt off, I don't care. If we get like I don't know $200 or 20, I'll take my shirt off. How about that? Okay. If we get like that would be there. Ah, see now that's how you monetize shit right there, people. That is how you monetize shit. Okay. Sex sells, right? And we're actually going to talk a little bit about that today, about how sex sells. So, kind of. Well, you'll see what I mean. It'll make sense here in a second. Uh, okay. Hello, hello, hello. Okay. So, he can't wait to strip, says Laylane. Hey, Laylane, I got you. Okay, yeah, not that I can't wait to strip, but I have no sense of what's the term, decency. So it's whatever. Okay. So, she's a businesswoman. Who are you referring to? Oh, me. Oh, I see. Okay, yes, I am. I am a businesswoman. AMA Gaming. Yes. Um, okay. Okay. Let me just check a few other things here again. I'm gonna wait like 3 more minutes. Before. Hey, Jay Shadow. I'm actually planning to get a. I'm as I raise more funds, okay, I'm going to be getting right now. You all don't know this. I'm streaming through a laptop, okay, and it's a really good laptop. But what I would like to do, yes, Matt Saigai, I've added about 1,000, and we're almost to 6,000. I think what 6,000 subscribers, 7,000 subscribers. So we have grown remarkably fast. So I was going to say is right now I'm actually streaming from a laptop and it's a good laptop. But if I had a desktop computer, which I'm planning to get here soon, hopefully with some of the money that is raised from all these things, I will be able to concurrently stream on both Twitch and YouTube Live. So I'm hoping to do that, so I can have them both going on both. Okay, and yeah, so I am planning to do that eventually. And by the way, speaking of me profiting off of all of you, if you'd like to become a member, you can go to my page and click the join button. For as little as 99 cents a month, you can become a member. I also have a Patreon page now. I think I only got like 1 or 2 people on there, but that's okay. In their defense, I haven't given them much yet. So if you want to do yes, Big Braden, then PC gaming. Absolutely. We can do that. That'd be fantastic. I was hoping to play like Elden Ring or something. Um, yeah. Okay, be a member or else. Thank you, Alice. Hey, yes, please be a member or else we'll come find you. Okay, no. But so I will I feel oh yes, so you can also subscribe on Patreon for $5 a month to be a supporter. So thank you for that. Now I will say, folks, we got a lot of the originals in here. Glad to see all of you, some new folks. Something else to add here. I have a lot of folks. The video I did about I clipped the video from my live stream where I announced that I no longer was employed. Uh, and I'm not even joking. I have gotten, I think, about $100 of just of people sending me money through. They're called super thanks after watching that video because they are trying to be charitable, knowing I lost my job, which is very nice. So that's just something I want to tell you all about. There's a lot of kind people out there, which was very nice. Yeah, Alan's here. Woo, Alan. Okay. Um, Okay. And again, folks, I haven't done any clips today, but hopefully after the stream is over or whatever, I will do some more clips. Okay, I'm going to actually go back to the face page here. We can chat a little bit before I start, because I did say originally that I would start at 12:30. I'll start at 12:20. Oh, so let's chat a little bit, and then we can get into the stuff we are going to be doing today, which is learning a little bit about stuff I did a lot of. That was sort of my area of specialty when I was in grad school, which is the history of social control. in the modern United States. So what do we got? What do we got? We got all right. Liking the stream, especially important for small creators. Thank you, Reigning Chaos. Yes, I agree. I love how the internet has opened up all these different spaces for people to speak about these things, allowing everyone out there to sort of circumvent mainstream media news sources, which has been very good. It's also been bad in some ways because it also allows people to watch folks who don't know what they're talking about and such. But I think it's has a very democratizing effect. Bruh Moment is here. Hey, Bruh Moment, I didn't see you. Yeah, Bruh Moment, another one of the originals. Bruh Moment said just joined Edward Bernays. So we're talking about the invention of modern advertising. Oh, Bruh Moment, Bruh Moment. Yes, partially, but that is how he is framed by a lot of folks. But it was more than just advertising. Okay, as you will see. It was propaganda. Okay. You'll see what I mean. We'll talk about it. Okay. Um, I keep missing you in chat here, bruh moment, even though you're like a staple of the chat. I do apologize for that. Love you with all my heart. Uh, uh, J Shadow, all follow Mod Shut. Yeah, I don't know if we should follow Mod Shut. Shut was getting a bit frisky yesterday. So, uh, J Shadow, yep, love to do the Bezos Bucks things. AMA Gaming, yes, sister. You sorry. I had a bad case of the gay. I call everyone she and her. Hey, there's worse diseases to have. Let me tell you. AMA gaming. That's okay. Please. I am honored to be called a she or a her. That is fine with me. Um. Uh. Yeah, I'd be doing both. PC gaming, yes. Funky frog style. Ooh. Yeah, on PC, most of my games I don't want to talk about how many hours I spent. Oh, that's a good game, Big Brain. I actually haven't played it. I've watched other people play it, but it looks like a fun game. Um, the BF6. Tell me what that is, bro. Moment. I probably will know once you tell me. But bro. Moment says I'm watching this on gaming PC right now. Was just playing the BF6 beta before I got the stream notification. Would love to hear what is that BF6 Battlefield. Is it Battlefield? Battlefield 6. Okay. At least like the yeah, folks, please like the stream. I think most of you have, but it'll help get more people in here. And now that I have at least a couple moderators, hopefully we won't have a bunch of Nazis coming in here, which is always unpleasant. Okay. Macy, that's a fair point about the copyright stuff. I'm still doing research on this. Laylane, teachers should be able to have a personal life and a personal view that they don't bring into the classroom. YMMV based on states in the U.S. Yeah, you're absolutely right there, Laylane. I know I'm pretty open about my political views on here in front of a classroom, though I obviously was not. Okay, and that's the way it should be, right? You're supposed to just sort of teach facts and things like that. But of course, I obviously would stay I would hope because I would hope that it would lead them to the correct right conclusions, but you're right about that. But that's kind of why I'm loving doing this because I can actually stay my political views as well. All right. Okay, guys. So one more minute here, and then we will get on to the good stuff. By the way, I don't know if you saw, but it's pretty much generally considered that what Trump did with Putin and stuff was an absolute disaster, because he didn't get anything out of it. So fun for that. Great fun. Um, shocking, right, Alice? Yeah, we weren't doing gender surgeries during second period. I know that's what the right wing would like to have you all think. It never happened. Okay. Um, and Macy Schroeder says, "Do you have to hide your orientation at the school you taught, or were you allowed to exist?" Technically, no, I wouldn't have to hide it. I will tell you all a brief story though. I will often choose not to reveal it just because it can cause issues. The one of the schools I did uh, come out at. I had a rainbow flag on my desk, and a student in the middle of class actually took out a lighter and caught it on fire. So that was kind of a disappointing occurrence. And the school, which I will not name, you would think that that is arson, okay, or some sort of major offense. This individual was suspended, I believe, for 1 day, um, which seems to me not to fit. Should have been a bit more than that, but hey. Um, Yeah. So that's sort of the reason why a lot of times you won't even be protected if I were to come out at a school. And by the way, there is for those who might be wondering, well, why would you want to come out at a school to begin with? You have students who are LGBTQ, and it can often be very good for them to have someone who's an authority figure, a teacher who identifies with them. Um, Okay, you big brain, you actually worked with someone who thought that people were putting litter boxes in bathrooms. That is, oof. Yeah, I mean, that's the state of propaganda today. There's a lot of nonsense out there. Okay. Um, exactly. I would say, how dare you make that kid gay with a flag, right? Jeez, yeah, I there are people that think that way. Okay. So yeah. Okay. All right, folks, let's get started here. What we're going to be talking about today. Is We are going to start by talking about social control. Now, I will explain how this is, why we're talking about it and such. Let me pull it up because I got my little presentation screen here. My inner teacher comes out. Um, okay, now let me go back to the first screen. Okay, so uh, this is what we're going to do. Okay, Sir Bartholomew, welcome back to the cult, right? Who was it that first came up with that? One of you degenerates did. Okay. Uh, so we're going to talk about the topic today is social control and propaganda in modern America. And uh, I know that I believe it was Brummel mentioned Edward Bernays, so he's heard of him. I am going to put a quick little survey in chat here. I'm just curious who here has heard of Edward Bernays? Um, okay. Most people have not. Have you heard of Edward Bernays? Okay. Even though he's considered one of the 100 most influential Americans, most people never learn about him. Let's pull. I just want to see what we got here. No, not Bernays sauce, but okay. We got lots of no's. I think, okay, 88% say no. Okay. I assumed as much. All right. You might see soon why he's not talked about in curriculum, even though he's a very important figure in American history. Yeah, Brummoman is an intellectual. Very much appreciate Brummoman's kind of holdover history or knowledge of history. So, all right, folks. So when we talk about propaganda, when we talk about those sort of things, and when it comes to America, you need to know about Edward Bernays, and you're going to see why this is relevant. And I promise you, this actually may be a bit disturbing for some people. I'm not gonna like talk about anything gory or anything, but you'll very quickly see something you may not have known before. When I found out about this, it is one of the reasons I started working on what I was working on in grad school, because I became so enraptured with this idea. It was shocking to me. Okay. um, so let's get into it. First of all, I do want to show you all. First of all, can everyone see the screen here with his face on it and such? I'm just making sure that the correct screen is up. It looks like it is. It is. Okay. Um, yeah. Hey. Jay Shadow. If you know psychology and you're a history buff, you will be fascinated to hear about this guy. Okay. He combined both of those. He combined. Well, you'll see. He used psychology. Okay. So, for those who are interested, one of the best books on this subject, I'll put it in the Discord channel, is this one right here. You can see it in my hand. It's called. You notice it's very well worn because it is a book that I am very familiar with. Okay. It's called PR, a social history of spin. Um, uh, by Stuart Ewan. Great book if you're interested in a historical analysis of this. One of the best books there. Let's talk now, okay? So Edward Bernays, let's talk about this guy here. This guy here on the right, this is Edward Bernays. He is called the father of public relations. And we'll see what that term means, public relations, very soon. He took inspiration from people like Sigmund Freud, okay? You all know Sigmund Freud, I'm sure. You've heard of him. Is that the case, Sir Bartholomew? Bartholomew, are people not able to send super chats? Let me know if that's the case. If any, well, I don't want to force anyone to try, but let me see. There might be a setting going on here. Let me double check. Do 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 do. Hmm. Give me a moment here. Maybe, maybe. Let me see. Let me try one more setting. Weird. Okay. Monetization. Will we do that? We'll do that. Okay. What about now? How does that? Is it there now? Does it appear now? That is strange. God damn it, YouTube. Okay. Can we does it can we see it now? Let me double check another one of these settings here. Um Participant mode. It's like oh, you've got it now? Okay. So folks, you might want to refresh your screen. That should fix the problem. Um I don't know why that didn't appear. Maybe that I'm not sure what happened. Try refreshing the stream, folks. That might do it. If you want to send a super chat, at least try refreshing the stream. That is a very strange occurrence. I didn't really change many settings when I didn't fix it. There it is. Okay. Oh, good, good. Okay, excellent. All right, folks. Well, again, if you want to send a super chat, please do. If we get 5, I will put on the Jester hat. 10, and I will put on the Jester collar. And then if we get 20, give me liberty or give me. Oh, thank you, guys. Oh, thank you, guys. Here come the super chats. Thank you, folks. Macy Schroeder says, "Give me liberty or give me death." Love Patrick Henry. Great quote, Macy. Yeah. Okay. Boy, do I feel that way sometimes in this country. Reigning in chaos proof. Thank you for that. Reign in chaos. Um, no stripping here, right? Okay. Uh, but if we get to wait, now shut, are you saying no stripping here because I'm not allowed to do it on stream? It would just be my shirt. I'm literally asking because I don't want to get banned or something if I take my shirt off. But if we get to, like I said before, 10 super chats, we'll put on the collar. 5, put on the hat. And if we get to like 20 or like $200, I'll say whichever comes first. I'll literally take off my shirt. I don't care. Okay. Anyway, um, okay, so let's all right. Well, we'll continue. Thank you all for that. Huzzah, Sir Bartholomew. Thank you, Sir Bartholomew. Thank you, Shut, for that. Thank you for the super chat. Very, very good. Okay. Yeah, I know. That's for sure, Jay Shadow. Damn near impossible to get banned on YouTube. Yeah, that's for sure. So continuing with what I was saying here, folks. 2 more super chats, and I will put on the hat. Regardless, so he was considered the father of public relations. He took inspiration from Sigmund Freud. I think they were actually uncles or something, or they were related somehow. Okay, and Laban, who's a French guy who thought a lot about mass psychology, and Walter Lippmann. We'll talk about Walter Lippmann some other time. That Death Died Today is here. Hello, Death Died Today. Big Braden says, I was gonna say if Logan Paul can do all his bullshit on YT, you should be found. That's accurate. And that's very accurate. Okay. Um, so let's continue here. Okay. So he now, I would love to hear your all reaction to this. Okay. So Edward Bernays, he described the masses. That's the word he used. He called them the masses, like those unwashed peasants. Okay. He said that the masses are irrational and subject to herd instinct. And his whole life project was sort of outlining how skilled thinkers, practitioners, could use crowd psychology and psychoanalysis to control the populace in certain desired ways. Okay. Um, so that sounds super nice, right? Let's figure out how we can use psychology to control how people think and what they do, et cetera, et cetera. Um, Great job, moderators. Wow. So you got, I don't know what that person said, but great job. Okay. Uh, so, yeah, yeah, absolutely. That's very okay. Bruh Moment says, I mentioned this quote before, but I think it's very apt here. Ours is the age of advertisement and publicity. Nothing ever happens, but there is immediate publicity everywhere. Absolutely, Bruh Moment. And that's what we're going to. Um, okay, okay, that's fair. Dev died today. Thank you. I don't have to take my shirt off, and I really don't think that's going to end up happening. So it's mainly kind of just a fun thing here, but okay. There seemed to be demand for it. So, all right. Okay. But of course, I will be wearing the collar and the hat still. So, you know. All right. So let's go on here. So that was his goal. All right. Come up with ways that you can control the populace using psychology and such. Okay. So he wrote two very influential books. I know this is kind of dull. I promise we'll get to the good stuff. My inner historian, we have to give some background here. His first book was called Crystallizing Public Opinion. It came out in 1923. So this is a while ago. This is before World War II. And I'm telling you that because when I tell you later, it'll make more sense why I'm telling you. Okay. In 2023, he said his basic argument in this was that appropriate messages should be crafted based off careful study of group psychology and disseminated by not merely purveying, but by actually creating news. So he thought, if you're doing advertising or the government is putting out a message, you should craft it in a way that can take advantage of people's psychology. And another way to disseminate information is to do things that create news so that it'll reach a wider audience. Um, does that make sense to everyone? Okay. And the name of that book was Crystallizing Public Opinion. And that was his point, is that you can manipulate the public and create their opinion by manipulating them through psychology. Okay. Um, so now then, that book was not as important. Macy Schroeder, is this around the time as the Sun reporting on that ship fire? I'm not sure, Macy. Can you be more specific? What ship fire? So his second book, this is arguably the more important one. Um, Thank you for that, Chet. I'm glad we figured that out before I embarrass myself. Okay. Uh, on propaganda, it says here, 1928. So this was 1928, 5 years later. All right. Now, for this one, folks, please listen carefully. This is very relevant to your daily lives, okay? And you'll see how it plays into many aspects of your lives even today. On propaganda, Bernays' thesis, he stated that there are invisible, in quotes, people who create knowledge um, and propaganda-based rule over the masses, with uh, and that those people have a monopoly on the power to shape the thoughts, values, uh, people's thoughts, values, and the response of citizens. He termed this engineering consent. And he said that it is important to engineer the consent of the masses because that would be vital for the survival of democracy and capitalism. Fox Emblem 01, I've seen you in here before. I couldn't say it better. You're speaking my language. Fox Emblem 01 says, the invisible people being the bourgeoisie. Yes, if we want to use Marxist terms here, the bourgeoisie, yes, the owning class, the business owners, the wealthy, the elites, okay? Those are the quote unquote, by the way, I put it in quotes because those are the words he used in it. I've read his book. Uh, um, Goebbels, oh, absolutely, Matt Guy. Goebbels, yeah, okay, talked in a very similar way. As a matter of fact, Goebbels was a big fan of Bernays, and Bernays respected Goebbels back. Okay, so not to, yeah, yeah, Fox emblem. Okay, I know in some colleges they do talk about Bernays, but yeah, most people don't know about him. Yeah, Big Braden Goebbels is very scary. Even if you just look at his face, he looks evil. I know that's, judging a book by its cover, but in this case, just look up a picture of Goebbels. You know what? I'll show you guys now. You want to see a picture of Goebbels, the Nazi propaganda minister? Um, just tell you can't tell me he doesn't just look evil. Let me. Okay, here we go. All right. Okay, here we go. I'll move this over to the page here so you all can see it. This is Goebbels. Uh, I've seen worse pictures of him where his face is dark and like he has dark bags under. Yeah, am I wrong here? Does he not just look like an evil guy? Um, Maybe I'm exaggerating. I don't know. I feel he looks like pretty bad. Yeah, I love that Sir Bartholomew. Yeah, he definitely does have that Stephen Miller look, doesn't he? I'm sure Stephen Miller would um probably loves the guy. Okay, so this is Goebbels. Um, Yeah, it is kind of like Stephen Miller with hair, and no joke. Okay, Stephen Miller looks very similar. So that's Goebbels. Anyway, um, luckily he not soon enough, but he offed himself at the end of World War II, along with his wife and children. They put poison, and he and his wife put poison in the mouths of their children while they were sleeping, because his wife, and his children didn't believe that they should survive if the Fuhrer was dead. While I do feel bad for his children, I'm going to show you another image that expresses my opinion on that. Uh, and I'm not going to say it out loud, but I'll show you here. If anyone here are punks, as in like punk music, you'll know this image. Okay. Um, Here we go. Hopefully you all find this at least a little amusing. Okay, this is an image for is that anti-fascists like to have. Okay, you see that there? Yeah, that's my opinion towards Goebbels. Okay, uh, let me let me get back to seeing all of you now. Where we go? Where to go? Right. So yeah, let's go. Right. Okay. You see like that? I'm like, obviously I'm not going to say it out loud. Uh, but let's just say I approve. Okay. Um, Gotcha. All right. Yep. Great image, right? I'd love a T-shirt with that on there. A bit too. I don't think I would though. It'd probably a bit too violent or whatever. But hey, definitely follow your leader. Okay. Anyway, moving on. Back to what we're talking about. There's Gomels again. Okay. Let's go back to this. Again, folks, we have a 5 super chat goal right now. If we get 5, I'll put on the jester hat. 10, I'll put on the jester collar, and we'll consider what I'll do at 20. Okay. How about that? Maybe I won't take my shirt off. Maybe I should have been more discerning. Uh, Yeah, right, right, Macy. Okay, so let's continue here. So he made this argument that the basically the elites, the powerful, need to control the citizenship through manipulating them psychologically, so that to ensure their survival of democracy and capitalism. Personally, doesn't sound very democratic to me, but to him, democracy is basically ruled by capitalist elites. All right, so moving on. As you can see in this last section here, these ideas, especially in the book on propaganda, were highly influential. That's why I said to you, um, uh, he's considered one of the 100 most influential Americans in American history, on multiple historians' lists, because both of those books were highly influential in both the corporate world and the government world. All right. Um, and yeah, the government actually appointed him to lead a committee on propaganda during World War I to help put out propaganda to help get people involved in the war and such. Okay. Um, any comments on that before I go to the next page? Let me see what we got here in chat. For those who are in chat, you can, if you'd like to support the channel, become a member. You can go to my page, click join. For as little as 99 cents a month, you can support the work I do on this channel, and also my father for our reaction videos. There's also a Patreon page. If you want to support for $5 a month, you can go there, sign up for $5 a month, and help support what we do here. And also, please like the stream if you haven't yet. That'll help get this out to more people. And what else do I say? Oh, and again, 2 more super chats, and I will put on the jester hat. Okay, let's continue. Now then, in the course of doing my research in grad school, okay, all this very interesting things. There were 2 versions of that book on propaganda that were put out. Okay, the first one was put out in 1927. And then something really big happened in the world in the late 1930s and 1940s, and that would have been the largest war in human history, World War II. And that monstrous-looking demon, Joseph Goebbels, uh, he was head of the Nazi Department of Propaganda, and the word propaganda during World War II got a really bad rap. I wonder why. And everyone in the United States started looking at Edward Bernays' book called On Propaganda and being like, oh, wait, we don't like propaganda. That's bad. So this is what happened. They re-released his book on propaganda in 1945. And when doing research in grad school, I had a version, the original version, the on propaganda version, basically, and the new version. In the new version that was released in 1945, the only thing he and his publishers did was that they took out the word propaganda and replaced it with the word public relations. And if you look here on this page, okay, the title for the version of On Propaganda was just called Public Relations, and like I said in the book, every mention of propaganda was replaced with the word public relations. That is a rather obvious thing, right? Must I add more to that? So, by the way, uh, practically every single corporation in the United States has a Department of Public Relations. It is a multi-billion, exactly, Brahma. It is a multi-billion-dollar industry. There are tons of corporate departments, government departments that are all about public relations, which is simply another word, exactly, Big Braden. It's simply another word for propaganda. And every day, and this does include, I think it was Brummoman who said that he was the founder of modern advertising. Yeah, because modern advertising is public relations, it's propaganda. And everywhere we go, we are surrounded by it, are we not? We are surrounded by advertisements, we are surrounded by public relations statements from different corporate entities, from the government, etc. And I will say, some corporations and some government agencies have actually now changed the name from public relations because that started getting a bad name. So they changed it to communications departments. So if you ever see an interview with an employee of a corporation who works for that corporation's Department of Communications or public relations or community affairs. Those are all variations on the phrase public relations, okay? And that means that their job is to use psychology to manipulate the masses in a way that reflects well upon them and their company, okay? We are surrounded by it. Now, uh, yeah. Macy Schroeder, yeah. Now, I will say communications majors, a large chunk of communication majors are about literally just about communicating. But there is also a large chunk of communication majors that are about this. And Bernays is somewhat considered the founder of the idea of the modern communications. Um, yeah. Okay, CAF has its own PR department, 100%. Not fun being told how to lie to the public, can confirm 100%, folks. And people don't realize this. Again, multi-billion dollar industry of so-called public relations in this country. Billions of dollars are spent trying to manipulate the populace, okay, every year from multiple different angles. Moment says the real world changes into simple images. The simple images become real beings and effective motivations of the hypnotic behavior. 100%. Moment, that's a great quote there. That sounds like it could have just come out of the mouth of Edward Bernays. Fox Emblem 1 says, I love capitalism so much. This is sarcasm. Oh, we know, Fox Emblem. We know it's sarcasm, okay? Um, so just be aware of that. We are surrounded by this crap, okay? Uh, so just be aware, all right? Um, uh, I want to see if we're going to add more to that. I do want to add a little more to this, so we will continue. London is here. How you doing, London? Glad to see you. Glad to see you. For anyone who just came into chat, I know I've kept repeating this and such. If we get 2 more super chats, I'll put on the jester hat. That is correct, Big Braden. No one is immune to propaganda, myself included. Like I've said, I'm only human. Yeah, I try really hard, but occasionally I will fall victim to propaganda. I mean, it's literally based off psychology, so it is made to change your opinion, to make you think certain ways. Everyone is susceptible. Yeah, and to cults. Matt Saigai, 100%. Cults are very effective at using propaganda. Okay. Heck, we saw it yesterday when we were watching that Nothing Burger press conference, right? In the background, there was that, I think, that sign that said "Pursuing Peace" or some crap like that. Um, so just be aware of that. It's all around us, and it takes this. I'm just going to sound like a biological anthropologist here. I can't help it. Um, your brain does not like changing its mind about things. Why? Well, partially it burns calories. If you have an opinion about something, and I'm sure we've all experienced it. I've experienced it. Okay, even if we face evidence that goes against what we believe, it takes the brain effort to change it, and that burns calories. It takes energy. So our brains don't like changing what they think a lot of the time because of the energy burned. So it takes effort to push back against propaganda and to think for oneself. So just be aware of that. You might need to just, you all probably know this, but think a little harder before you believe what you see, obviously, especially if it's coming out of a PR department of any kind, because remember, it's just a propaganda department, okay? Moment. The best way I find to protect myself as best as possible with propaganda is to tell myself, I know that I know nothing. A bit extra. That is a great way of thinking about it, Moment. As a matter of fact, psychologists have studied intelligent people, or at least this is controversial. I'm going to tell you, so don't. There's a lot of debate about this, but people who are ranked as super intelligent, they're often the ones that are willing to admit that they don't know things. If you've come across someone who is not willing to admit that there's things they don't know, that is an issue. Okay, just be aware. There's a lot we don't know. Okay, and there's a lot that we have blind spots on and things like that. All right. Now, this played out. Now, I'm going to skip a bunch of stuff here. I mean, not skip it. I didn't have it prepared because I'm trying to make a point. There's a lot more I could talk about in regards to this idea of propaganda in the United States. But I will say, uh, it- well, but I'm going to move forward to one especially interesting instance of this that'll be very relevant to all of you. Okay. Let me open this other next page up. Okay. Uh, boot do do do. La da 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 da. Where did I put this nonsense? Okay, here we go. Okay. Perfect. Okay. So I'm going to show you all something. This is a primary document. So this is the original document. Um, all right, here we go. Let me make sure everyone can see it. Da, 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 da. How do I make it bigger so everyone can kind of get a good look at this thing? Um, Here we go. Okay. We can kind of see it there. All right. I'll go back to this. So this brings me to something that happened relatively recently in our history that still massively affects us today. Okay. Um, Matt Saigai, I'm super proud of you. Matt Saigai says I overcame religious propaganda and brainwashing. Like I said, Matt Saigai, I used to volunteer for an organization called Recovering from Religion. So, I mean, that is not easy thing to do. Great job there. Yeah, London. Yeah. Okay. By the way, London, I know not everyone in here, is anyone in here not from America? Um, the Edward Bernays ideas were very popular also in Europe. They kind of spread over there. And they also spread to Japan. They spread to a lot of places. Okay, so it became sort of a global phenomenon. Edward Bernays ideas. Um, so a fox emblem says, "I also overcame it, Matt Sai. Now I am a happily queer guy-ish. Sorry, happily queer guy-ish guy in a relationship with another LGBTQ person." I love to hear that fox emblem. Okay. Um, very much love to hear that. I also see other people saying that they have escaped different ideologies and such. Um, yeah. Okay. I mean, by the way, folks, we also see like in the Trump administration tons of examples of this. Obviously, other administrations have done the same thing. Even just changing the names of things, like I mentioned, the idea of the Department of War versus the Department of Defense. Um, the Trump administration, like the big beautiful bill. Those are tiny things, but those are important, right? Because repetition can make people believe something. So every time we talk about the big, beautiful bill, we're repeating that it's big and it's beautiful, right? Even though it was not. So there are lots of things like that. Okay. The next part here, right? So up on your screen, you'll see a document. This document is called the Crisis of Democracy. It was when was it? When was it? Yeah, no, that's right, 1973. Okay. So let's do a little history here, and I'll explain why this is relevant. So in the 1960s, what happened? Someone tell me in chat what was happening in the 1960s. Yes, I know I'm doing a teacher move. I don't care. I'm going to do it anyway. It's in my blood. Okay. What kind of things were happening in the 1960s? Okay. While anyone wants to write down some of the big changes that happened in the 1960s, I'm going to go through some of these chats. A reminder, everyone, if we get to 5 super chats, I'll put on the jester hat. 10, I will put on the collar. Okay. And yes, and if you are, please like the stream if you have not yet. That'll allow more people to see the stream, and they'll be able to learn about the fact that they're surrounded by propaganda. And if you want to be a member, please go to my page, click join for as little as 99 cents a month. See, now look, I'm using Edward Bernays tactics here. But regardless, at 99 cents a month, you can become a member and help support the channel or on Patreon. Okay, let's see what we got here. Um, Big brain getting a scary dude. Okay. Let's go. Okay. Yeah, okay. Fox Emblem 1 says Jay Shadow. Oh, here we go. Jay Shadow said incoming Asmon fans, Asmongold, okay, yeah. Fans saying the tolerant left isn't so tolerant. Yeah, okay. Yeah, right. I know what you're saying. Okay, and Fox Emblem, Jay Shadow, yeah, we reached the tolerance paradox. I am not tolerant of most people now. Hey, I'm getting there too. I'm getting there too. Okay. I love people. Like I really love. You probably guys can tell. Like I literally studied them in college. Anthropology is the study of humans, but I'm getting kind of frustrated. Let's point it that way. Bruh Moment says more doublespeak. Hooray! Yes, Orwell would be rolling in his grave. Okay. Knowing about Edward Bernays and such. Um, uh, uh, Yep, Big Braden. They do this all the time. Just change the name when it starts to be disliked. Um, Sir Bartholomew, the CAF has its own part. Yep, the Canadian Armed Forces definitely has it. Canada also heavily influenced by the Edward Bernays thinking. Okay, and then we wonder, folks, why there is such a disconnect between what is actually happening in the country and what people think is happening in the country. It's because there is a multi-billion dollar propaganda industry constantly lying to people about what's happening in the country. Okay. uh, okay. Let's see what else we got here. The best way. Yep. London says propaganda is one of those things where as soon as you catch a piece of it, you start to notice it everywhere. Correct. This is why I got obsessed with it, because after I started learning a lot of these things, I became obsessed. I started seeing it everywhere. Um, yeah. Bro, moment. The best way to find I find to protect myself as best as possible with propaganda is to tell myself I know that I know. Not, yeah. Well, sorry, I already mentioned that one. Um, a lot of folks overcoming religious brainwashing. Fantastic. Big Braden says, yes, my dad used to be a lot more susceptible to conservative propaganda. And through me just talking to him, I pushed him at least into the center. That's fantastic, Big Braden. Great job there. Um, I know Death Died Today also had a similar experience with religion. Um, let's see what we got here. Um, okay. For a moment, I'm never religious, just surrounded by the rhetoric, and I have to act like I agree when I'm at family reunions. Hurts my soul. You know what, bro moment? Yeah, I've heard that from a lot of folks, and I don't think you're LGBTQ, bro moment. But you can imagine it is very hard, even if you're not gay, to be in that situation. But it gets even more complicated if you're gay. You know, if you're any of the any of the letters, okay, any of the letter soup there to talk about religion around family members. Okay. Big Braden says again, Sir Bartholomew Nice. By that point, my dad was better. Trump in the States pushed him, and also uh, just yeah. Yep. Mm-hmm. 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 Okay, good. Thank you, folks. So we got another super chat. Fantastic. One more, and then I'll put on the jester hat. Macy Schroeder says, we have always been at war with Oceania. Macy Schroeder, you know I love your 1984 references. Okay, you know I love it. For the folks who don't know, Oceania is uh the like it's a fictional country inside of the 1984 universe. Yeah. Okay. Where's my coffee? Alan, welcome. Where's my coffee? Yeah. Okay. Yep. Jay Shadow. It's like when you get a car new to you, you start seeing it everywhere. 100%. Okay. Um, Big Braid, and you absolutely have to read 1984. I promise it's not a boring read. Everyone in this chat, you're not allowed to come back in the chat until you've read 1984. No, I'm kidding, but George Orwell was like a modern day prophet in terms of his capacity for analyzing society and stuff. Um, yeah. Okay. Okay. One more, folks, and I'll put on the hat. Shutt says Nazi equals MAGA is an example of doublespeak. Uh, Nazi equals MAGA. I was having trouble processing what you're saying there, Shet. You're probably right. I don't know why my brain isn't working. Um, yeah. All right. Will there be a quiz? I know, Resident Union Thug. I got my little teaching stuff going on here. Okay, so folks, let me continue now. I saw some comments here that are absolutely correct. I asked you what was going on in the 60s. This document was written in 1973, so we have to understand it was written in the context of having just come out of the 60s. I see some great ideas here, okay? Big Braden says a lot happened in the 60s, 100%. Okay. Noam Chomsky famously said that the 1960s were one of the most civilizing decades in the United States, and they largely were. Okay. Weed smoking. Yes, lots of weed smoking or cannabis, whatever you want to call it, shut. Thank you, Big Braden. That's the big one I'm looking for. The civil rights movement happened in the 1960s. Women's liberation happened in the 1960s. There were a lot of big movements in the 1960s. There were some labor movements too. There was the anti-war movement against the Vietnam War. Um, Martin Luther King, 1960s. Okay, it was an era of extreme change, and it was an era of very active democracy, where the general public rose up many times, okay, and pushed back against what the government was doing, against what elites were doing. Now then, let me go to the next part here. It was oh yeah, someone else mentioned the Cold War that was also going on. Okay, so in the 1970s, um, a bunch of countries, well, three countries slash area of the worlds came together in this conference. And this conference um, was called the Trilateral Commission. All right. And you can see the names of the people here. The three representatives, Samuel P. Sorry, um, is that Michael, Michelle? Jay Crozier represented Europe, literally just Europe generally. Samuel P. Huntington represented the United States, and Joji Watanuki represented Japan. And it was the idea of like Western capitalist democracies coming together. And they were looking to discuss uh, what they viewed as a problem with democracy. So allow me to explain what they meant by that. And I think you can all guess where I'm going with this. Okay, I'm going to do a document search here so I can actually find, so you can see I'm not making this crap up. All right. Let's see, how do I page? Okay, I'll do the page search up here. Search, find. Okay, so, okay. So they felt that society that governments were being overly pressured by what they called the special interests. And what they meant by that was that too many minority groups, the labor movement, average people were asking too much of their governments. Okay. And that was putting democracy into a state of crisis, putting capitalism into a state of crisis. And by the way, you guys, you can find this online. It is on the public domain. You can just go find it and look it up. Okay. And this is what was their conclusion. I will read it for you exactly so you know, because it might sound conspiratorial until you actually see it. Okay. Their conclusion was that the problem, here it is. Okay. I'll read it to you. This is what they concluded about what had happened in the 60s. Um, okay. Our analysis suggests that applying so he's saying that some people say that the way to fix the system is for more democracy. I would agree with that. But he immediately shoots that down and he says the following. Our analysis suggests that applying that cure at the present time could well be adding fuel to the flames. Instead, some of the problems of governance in the United States, by the way, and Europe and Japan, okay, today stem from an excess of democracy. Okay. What is needed is a greater degree of moderation in society, in democracy. What is he saying, folks? He's saying that these countries need to crack down on democracy and make it less democratic, okay? Because all these interest groups, all these women and all these minorities and all these poor people are putting way too much pressure on the government. So we need to roll back democracy a bit because it's getting out of hand, okay? Now, let me find another thing for you. And again, I'm going to find the direct quote so that you know, because again, evidence is very important when we talk about these things, because a lot of these things sound almost conspiratorial, right? Because of how broad they are and such. So we need evidence. So let me find another quote for you in here. Okay, here we go. Uh, so why do they think that democracy is in crisis, and why do they think that this has happened? Uh, if I can find the exact phrase. All right, here we go. I'll read it to you so you know I'm not just spouting bullshit. Uh, Authority has been challenged not only in government, but by trade unions, in business enterprises, schools and universities, professional associations, churches, and civic groups. In the past, those institutions which have played a major role in the indoctrination of the young, the indoctrination of the young, do you see? Anyway, okay. Um, those organizations that have played a major role in the indoctrination of the young in their rights and obligations as member of societies have been the family, the church, the school, and the army. They also go on to mention the government generally. Okay. Um, and the effectiveness of all these institutions as a means of socialization has declined severely. What is he saying? What are they saying here, folks? They're saying, oh, we're not brainwashing. Our propaganda isn't working well enough. Oz, hey, thank you. Well, welcome thank you for becoming a resistor. He's saying here, folks, that our governments are failing to brainwash our young, okay? Teach them things that'll keep them obedient to the state. And those institutions that have typically played a role in doing this, including the church, the government, the army, and things like that, have been failing at their jobs. And the reason they are claiming what they are saying, then what we should do is this is we because of this we should roll back democracy, because now we have a populace that aren't properly indoctrinated. We need to make sure that we are uh, that we're protecting the capitalist state from these unindoctrinated citizens. Now, I'm going to pause there. I'll give you all a chance to chew on that, because this is a very shocking thing. Okay. Uh, and by the way, what we end up seeing happen in the late 70s and 80s, and we've talked about it in stream before, is a massive crackdown of on democracy. This was the time period where there were decisions that allowed more campaign finance, so allowed the wealthy and such to donate to to politicians. This was the era where there was a big pushback against a lot of the gains of the 1960s. This was the era. This is like ends up in the 80s. You end up getting Reagan. A lot of these things, okay, ended up somewhat being implemented. Okay, so um, is anyone as shocked about this as I was? If it Big Braden, Reagan, I don't know if Reagan ever read it, but the ideas in it became so popular and so widespread that it is undoubtable that he was majorly into this sort of thing. Okay, he cracked down on unions. He heavily rolled back democracy. He got more money into politics. He empowered the wealthy. Okay, so again, and by the way, it happened in Europe too. Not as much as in the United States, but by the way, if you guys, if anyone's interested, like I said, you can find this online. It's in the public domain. Um, the In Europe, they also have conclusions for Europe. For the Europeans in chat, they claim that European countries, there's too much social democracy and things like that. The people are basically being given too much by the state, and it's making them weak and things like that. All right. And similar sort of language about Japan. All right. So this idea was kind of circulating amongst people in power in Europe, in the United States, and in Japan. Okay. Uh, Macy Schroeder, thank you for the super chat. We have achieved our goal. I will now put on the jester hat. Macy says Reagan ruined everything. Shout out Legia Miller. Oh yeah, I love Legia Miller. I highly recommend everyone look at her channel. She's a lawyer, very brilliant, great at doing deep dives on certain things. Okay, time for the jester hat. Since we are literally talking about the powerful and we're criticizing their that. Okay. There we go. Okay, there we go. Now we're better. We got this. Okay. I'm going to set a new goal here, folks. If we get another 5 super chats, I will put on the collar. All right. Here we go. Jester collar. I don't give a shit. Yeah, if we get to 20 super chats, I will take off my shirt, but I'll keep the collar and the hat on. And I'll do it off screen, okay? It's not like you'll be able to see much because there'll be a collar on, but hey. Jester collar. All right. And we will submit that as a okay. Back to the stream now, folks. All right. Scramble Mind Jumble. Hey, how you doing, Scramble Mind Jumble? What's up with you? I'm doing well. Um, Great to see all of you here. Okay. Let me read through some of these chats now that I've kind of thrown a lot of heavy stuff at you that I know when I first learned all this crap, it was deeply depressing for me. Okay. But let me see here. Um, all right. Oh, God, you got a lot of good chats here. Civil unrest. Oh, thank you. FFX in Durandal. I could be wrong, FFX, but is that or is that a Lord of the Rings reference? It might not be. Okay. Winter Linde's here. Hello, Winter Linda. Linde. What time is it over there? So I know what to say to you. Okay. Um, okay. Let's see here. Where's my coffee? Hello, where's my coffee? Weed smoking, as Big Braden says. Sounds like my kind of time. Yeah, join the club, Big Braden. Macy Schroeder says doublespeak is more self-censorship and keeping up with the culturally acceptable slang. Leah Lane, Macy, definitely doublespeak, but where certain words are banned on certain platforms. And yeah, it's been used in a number of ways. I will say, Shut says more like hot war, cause the nukes and the atom splitting and whatnot. Okay. Um, Unalive. Big Braid in the Cold War is fascinating to me since I was born just after it. Hey, I was born just after it too. It still has a massive impact on our society, especially with older generations. That's one of the reasons why we have so much trouble, like making any sort of, the word socialist, communist, and stuff, all been heavily demonized because of that. A lot of our the left was essentially destroyed during the Cold War, which is also why it has very limited prominence today. Um, Macy Schroeder lay the word salad in comment nowadays would send shivers down the English teacher's spine. Hey, it's okay. I can understand what you're all saying here. Big Braden, too much from their yeah, absolutely. Big Braden. Big Braden says too much from their government, like human rights. Absolutely. Okay, that is what they're saying. They're saying there's an excess of democracy because all these dirty, inferior interest groups are trying to get involved and demand things from the government, and the government can't handle it. Because it's a threat to capitalism. And if it's a threat to capitalism, it is good for the Soviet Union, et cetera, et cetera. Because remember, this was during the Cold War. Exactly. Too much freedom. Okay, Big Braden, absolutely. JK says, sorry, late. Has anybody read The Wave? Yes, I have read The Wave. It's a good read to understand how quick people fall in line. 100%. I do highly recommend that. It's a good, it's the movie, right? The Wave? I No, I'm sorry. I'm not thinking. Maybe I haven't. I'm being a fool. I apologize. Never mind. Maybe I haven't seen it. But yeah, I haven't read it. Leah Lane, probably mine as well. Have you ever read the book Frindle? I don't. I don't know. I don't know a lot of these books. I should look into these. Resident Union thought Big Braden. Whoa, whoa, whoa! Can't have that radical talk in here. Resident Union thug. Strangely enough, from your name, I'm guessing radical talk is not something you have an issue with. Where's my coffee? Good book suggestion, JK. I'll look it up. Okay. Big Braden, average 60s politician, human rights. That sounds like communism, 100%. Okay. Yep, Macy Schroeder, Linda. There's a lot of technical words that are banned, demonetized, so people work around. Like pew pew, hurt, disappeared. Reminds me of USA passed rule that you can't say fetus in legislation. I agree. JK, it's in the curriculum in German high schools. Are you referring to that book, Winterlinda? I know both of you are from Germany. Uh, Cult Alice A. Okay, Alice A says cult growing. Welcome, Oz. Yes, it is. It appears to be. We're gonna, but I do think there's an excess of democracy in this chat, and we're gonna need to. I'm gonna need to better indoctrinate all of you, so that you stop resisting so much and making so many demands. Okay, I am an American after all. Okay. good. I'm loving seeing the hate towards Reagan. I've said this before, but at some time I'm gonna one of my live streams. We're gonna just talk about Reagan. Um, we might call him wherever he's burning in hell, and we might um have a conversation with him or whatever. Um, yeah, he did. He ruined a lot. He really ruined a lot. Uh, Alan W says, maybe I've just become too nihilistic, but nothing shocks me in terms of our government global affairs. Hey, Alan, I'm glad to hear that. When I, first looked into this stuff, I was still a bit ignorant about it. So maybe by now it's become so widespread that you're right. I bet a lot of you, given everything that's been happening in this country, probably aren't that shocked by this. Yeah, Thatcher is Reagan light. Absolutely. Um, Yes, thank you, Shut, for posting it. Folks, we do have a Discord. If you'd like to join the Discord, we've been having lovely conversations on there. It's growing very fast. Very fast. We have like, I think 40 plus community members on there, and it's still growing. Um, let's see here. No, welcome, hedonic treadmill. Okay, I'm not sure what you're referring to, Alice, but maybe I shouldn't take off my shirt if we do get the 15 or 20. Uh, I'm sorry. You were referring to Jeez, okay. Hello, hedonic treadmill. Welcome to our little community here. Um, enjoy yourself, I suppose. Right? Hopefully you'll fit right in with all these degenerates. Okay. Uh, yeah. Resident Union Thug says joining groups like this helps ease the depression for me. We are strong together. 100% Resident Union Thug. We are stronger together. We can give each other support. Where's my coffee? Community res thug. Jay Shadow, 24 likes, 40 viewers. Gotta pump up the likes up, people. Hey, I agree with that. Thank you for helping for promote the stream. Folks, if you don't mind, please like the stream. It'll allow it to reach a wider audience. We'll get more people in here. Hopefully it won't draw in the trolls as much as yesterday, given that yesterday we were talking about Russia, and I'm sure all of Putin's little soldiers were in here probably. But hey, um, Oz says, I was born in the early 80s. I remember when the Berlin Wall fell and when the Cold War was declared over. Yeah. And people, I'm glad that Oz brought that up. You have to understand, like, it was not that long ago. I mean, by now it was like, what, 40 some years ago, or probably a little less than that. But that is not that long ago that the Cold War ended. And the effects of that are still have massive implications for us today. Shut my boss at work. Ooh, I'll go back to see here. Okay, Shut says my boss at work lived in Berlin when the wall came down, and he had a feeling he has a piece of the rubble apparently. That's pretty cool. I have heard other people to have it. Gracie, welcome, Gracie. Jay Shadow, autocracy in effect. Absolutely. Shut. None of this would be happening if Ronald Reagan was president. Well, not none of it, but a lot of it wouldn't be as bad as it is now. Okay, that's for sure. I also want to point out, folks, when this document came out, it was a Democrat who was the president. And his administration was heavily staffed with people who were highly invested in this document. That president was Carter. So Democrats and Republicans have not been good on this issue. As a matter of fact, folks, the people who wrote this document at the time were considered liberals. Can you imagine that? Liberals saying that, I mean, I'm sure we can imagine it as Americans, but liberals saying that we have an excess of democracy and we need to crack down on it, okay? Thank you for the super chat, Big Braden. Can we take a class trip to spit on Reagan's grave? Hey, I would have no problem doing that. That would be fun. That would be absolutely fun. Again, folks, if we get 4 more super chats, I'll put on the Jester Caller. All right. Thank you for the super chat there, Braden. Oz. Oh, you said my name, Oz. I will say your name every day. Well, okay, that sounds romantic almost. But Oz, you know I love you. Okay. You've been in here multiple times. Yeah, okay. Macy Schroeder, Shut, are you saying if he were alive in charge now, or if we joined him in hell and put him in charge? Macy, love the comment as always. JK, anybody know Legia Miller, Reagan hater? Yes, JK, we actually just mentioned her earlier. Great, she does great content. She has a shirt that has an image of Reagan burning in hell. I really want one of those. Eventually, hopefully, I will be able to get one. Um, J1, I'm not I can't really say that name. It's a lot of things put together. I second this. I totally agree, Jay. J1 there. I need the Resident Union Thug. Oh, it's so cute to see Resident Union Thug and Big Braden getting along so well. Sir Bartholomew, careful if you say Putin's name 3 times, the bot will crawl out of the woodwork. Yeah, I would not be surprised, or I might, fall out of the window accidentally or whatever. Louise Hitchinson. Hey, welcome back, Louise. Reagan and Maggie Thatcher were terrible. 100%, Louise. 100%. Terrible for the UK as well. Thatcher's cracking down on unions. Amongst other things, she did her neoliberal policies really bad for the UK. And Reagan, of course, terrible for the United States. You're right, Jay Shadow. We should call their little love relationship. Jay Shadow says we don't say Putin anymore. We call them Pump. We should do that. It's a couple's name. Yeah, you're right. I'm sorry, I'm not sure how to say your name here. M68KEN. Macon? I'm not sure. Too bad that the 1980s USSR and post-Soviet Russia couldn't hold on to democracy for long. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it fell pretty quickly. Basically became so modern day Russia is essentially a kleptocracy. It's a mafia state. A bunch of oligarchs control the society essentially. It is like it's a worse form of capitalism. I'm not sure how to phrase it. Yeah, not to be honest with you, the Soviet Union itself wasn't great, obviously, to begin with. So I'm not saying anyway, but yeah, it fell pretty quickly. Um, who else we got here? How's it going, Ranch? Welcome back, Ranch. Glad to see you in here again. You're definitely a regular now, Ranch. I gotta say. Okay. Oz. Oh, that is so cool. Oz says there's a chunk of the Berlin Wall on the mantle at my parents' house. Love it. Love it. Love it. Here we got another one. Lone pantaloons. The older I get and the more history philosophy I learn, the more I realize how recent the history is and that the effects are still playing out. Couldn't have said it better myself. Lone pantaloons. That is why I love history. Okay. It gives context to everything we're experiencing now. Without it, you cannot fully understand the present because we are absolutely still feeling the effects of that. Yesterday, well, a few days ago, I was out and about and I saw someone waving a Confederate flag. My point is like the past massively still affects us today. Macy, I would love to do a collab with Legia. I may be too small of a channel at this point. I'm growing pretty fast, but I may be too small of a channel. But hey, if anyone, hey, I will gladly, advocate for our little channel here. Okay, if anyone does know or has a way to contact any of those bigger streamers, to try to get me on there or just to have them mention me, not for any selfish reasons, but just to get more people in here, etc. I would love that. Yeah, but because yeah, I would love that. It would definitely help boost the channel, etc. Because again, I think I've said before, folks, I would love to do this full time. I'm really enjoying it, etc. Um, Alan W says, speaking of Reagan, at some point, can you talk about the October surprise controversy? Yes. Yes, I will. Okay. Controversy surrounding him in the war. I believe it was Reagan. Might be thinking of the wrong politician, but I will definitely talk about the October surprise at some point. Macy Schroeder says, hey, mods, are slurs against robots slash AI allowed? I guess it depends on the slur there, Macy. Clinkers. Jay Shadow. Love that. Big Braden again. What sucks is that even in Canada, this stuff bleeds over. We had politicians influenced by Reagan and Clinton and now Trump. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Not to mention American weapons. So we produce so many weapons in the United States that they go everywhere. The cartels of Mexico are basically armed with American weapons, which is, I think, very funny since Republicans always claim to hate the cartels, but don't want to do anything about guns, even though like all those cartels have American weapons. Uh, Silverback clanker. This is escalating, folks. Bruh Moment says we call them silverback clanker. Um, Lone Pantaloons wasn't Russia a democracy? Yeah, you're right. It was. It was. Yeah, I actually where I'm not going to be too specific here. I knew some teacher who was from the Soviet Union, and she would always talk about how the first few months after the Soviet Union fell were extremely exciting. It was like a new day, like a society opened up. People started trying new things. There were a ton of sort of democratic experiments. But then over time, with the rise of Putin, et cetera, those things disappeared as the state reconsolidated power. So you're absolutely right, Lone Pantaloons. It didn't last terribly long. Winterlinda, I lived on the country very near to the wall. It appears that people often do not realize that there was a wall. It was more than just a wall through the whole of Germany. You're absolutely right. In Winterlinde, I'm sure you know, most people, when they think of the wall, they think of the Berlin Wall, just the wall in Berlin. But there was an actual, it was mainly barbed wire and stuff that was going all the way down, separating East and Western Germany. Yeah. Yeah, Fox Emblem, 100%. USSR could have been greater, but screw Stalin. Yeah, Stalin. There, so folks, there's this idea some people have in history called the great man theory. It's the idea that a lot of old school historians still think this way, that events in history are caused by, almost always in their thought, men who do great things and move history along. That's not the case. However, there are certain occasions in history where a single person is an extreme, like, is extremely important for the way things go. Stalin is one of those examples. Stalin was massively paranoid. uh, we could probably classify it as a mental, some sort of something going on with his mind. Okay, his extreme paranoia um, had massive effects on what ends up happening in the Soviet Union. It's very rare. Another one, for example, would be Napoleon. But very rarely do you have like individuals who just be who no one other people may not have done the exact same thing, if that makes sense. Okay, but Stalin was one of those people. um Absolutely despicable human being that Stalin was. Didn't care for his own people. Murdered millions, killed more people than Hitler did, by the way. Launched a genocidal a genocide against the people of Ukraine called the Holdomir. Why can't I pronounce this? He basically starved them to death, millions of people, threw people into gulags. Real awful guy. I mean, yeah, when it comes to evil, et cetera, he's at the tippy top. Um, Thatcher and Reagan were also terrible for the EU, brought all those dumb yeah, I know, right? Hey, JK, I'm not sure if you heard me say it before in chat, but whenever I talk about trickle down economics, it is true. Trickle down economics is about trickling down on all of us. And I think you know what I mean. It's when the wealthy and powerful literally just unzip their pants and, trickle down on all of us. Yeah, trickle economics is proven false time and time again. It's complete nonsense, and it has been disastrous. It's one of the reasons we see such horrible wealth inequality today. Macy Schroeder, Big Braden, what's the cultural take on Letterkenny? The Iron Curtain was absolutely massive, Oz, and had lasting negative consequences for the nations that were underneath the Iron Curtain. There's a reason why Western Europe, I mean, this is an oversimplification. There was long been issues in Eastern Europe because of war and things like that, but there's a reason why there's such a stark economic divide between Eastern and Western Europe, partially because of the Iron Curtain. Um, because folks, even though I know I'm a socialist and stuff, but you have to understand the Soviet Union was an empire. Okay, the countries that it occupied in Eastern Europe, it looted them. It brought back a lot of the industry. It took a ton of industry from Eastern Germany and some from Western. Well, not much from Western, mainly from Eastern, and literally dismantled German factories and brought it back to the Soviet Union and did a lot of things like that. So it was an imperial power. Okay. Um, I'm Oh God, we got a lot of good chats here, folks. Let me go down. Uh, Yeah, there you go, Oz. Yeah, the oligarchs own it until they get too close to the window, for sure. And that's what Putin does. If an oligarch is going against him or whatever, or if the Russian government needs money, what Putin will do is off that the oligarch that owns a big industry, and then that industry will go into the hands of the state, so they can make money off of it. There's a bunch of things there. Putin, again, another monster here. Um, I haven't watched a ton, but I think okay. Big Braden says I saw a cop in Canada with a Confederate flag. What? That is insane to me. Canada was a safe haven for runaway enslaved people. For those who know about the Underground Railroad, many thousands of enslaved people fled to Canada to escape enslavement in the United States. That is, I mean, Canada was super heroic for that. That is shocking to me. I didn't know that, Big Brain, and that is very interesting. Big Brain, okay, Fox Emblem 1. Yeah, Lenin kind of died, and instead of Trotsky, Stalin took over. Yeah, I love that. I love how you phrased that there, Fox Emblem. Stalin took over, and Stalin was not great. Yeah, okay, and he also had Trotsky assassinated while living in Mexico. He was killed with an ice pick to the head. Again, he was massively paranoid. Macy Schroeder, IHIP would love to have you and said vibes to Kiki the Magic Lesbian. Oh gosh, okay. Oz, is it just me or is today's stream a little quiet? Kind of straining here and playing it through the car. Hey folks, can you not hear me? I can turn it up if everyone needs me to. Let me do we agree with that? I'll turn up my mic. I'm sorry about that, Oz. I got you. Is that better? Let me try it again here. Let me make add some gain function here. There, is that better, folks? Is that too loud? Is that not loud enough? Let me hear. I was messing with the settings earlier, so I would not doubt that that might be the case. It's fine for you? Okay. I did make it a little louder. Hopefully that is good for you, Oz. Okay, so folks, again, we have a super chat now thing. If we get 4 more, I will put on the oh my God, you hear that? I almost said I will put on the Confederate flag. Jeez, okay. I'll put on the jester collar, okay? All right. I work, Sir Bartholomew says, I work up north. A lot of Trump Confederate flags always blows my mind. Fascinating. That is really interesting. I'm going to need to look into that. I wonder why that is. Sir Bartholomew, I'm like near Toronto. Obviously, this is Big Braden. Okay, I'm like near Toronto, and it is a conservative area, but haven't seen too much of it. Louise Hitchinson, housing isn't good here in UK. Thatcher brought in the right to buy policy, where if you were a council tenant, you could buy the house you rented from said council. Great, you think, but then the council didn't build new houses for rent. So yeah, I know housing is a big issue right now in the United Kingdom. Lots of other issues going on there too. By the way, Louise, anyone else in here from the UK, we're going to do a stream where I talk about UK politics sometime because especially recently, it's been very interesting. Not always in the best way. Jay Shadow, my daughter isn't going to date some. I don't know if I even want to say that out loud. It's not a slur or anything, but oh, that is funny. Okay, Jay Shadow, kudos to you for that. You know what? I'll say it aloud. It is kind of funny. Going back to us discriminating against AI, Jay Shadow says my daughter isn't gonna date some tin skin. Oh, Jay Shadow, love your mind. Okay. Okay, Louis Hutch. Shut. Libs should start to claim guns as their thing. Then all the Trumpers would be like, "I hate guns to own the libs." Then we win. That's a great idea, there, Shut. Jay Shadow, you go far enough left and you get your guns back. That's true. Big Braden, you can't ever convince me Stalin actually gave a crap about socialism, communism. Yeah, he didn't. I think he just rose in the moment. Yeah, and no, you're right, Big Brain. So lots of times authoritarians like that rise in a moment of a lot of chaos and such, because that's what happens. If you have a brutal person, they typically rise to the top when there's a lot of chaos, and that was definitely the case in the Soviet Union when he took over. Um, uh, Lone Pantaloons living through that hope and then abruptly falling to kleptocracy must have felt despairing. Yeah, yeah. An important reminder to all revolutionaries to always consider uh, how to not just build the same but worse. Yeah, yeah. Big Brain and Napoleon is very fascinating. Napoleon is my Roman Empire. Okay, okay, no, not really. I think Napoleon is a very interesting character, one of those rare historical figures that it may not have someone else may not have been able to do it. Very rare though. Most of the time, you know, that's not the case. Um, he was brutal too. He did some weirdly enough, he did some good things too. He's an interesting character. Let's get to that. Maybe someday we'll do. I want to do at some point a live stream on the French Revolution. Not not to draw any comparisons or anything with anything that might be happening now, but and then we'll talk about Napoleon. Guys, we got a lot of good chats here. Is it really folks still really quiet? Can folks not hear it very well? Um, is there something I'm doing wrong here? Maybe I just need to yell louder into it. Does that help? Here, let me take a look here. Let me see what might be going on. Uh, interesting, interesting. Uh, Not sure if that'll help. Not sure why is it so quiet. That's interesting. Okay. Hmm. Well, is that a little better? I hope. Maybe, maybe not. It sounds better. Okay. Good. Excellent. Thank you, guys. Okay. Um, okay, that's fair. I would say. I'm hopefully maybe I'll get better equipment. Eventually, I'll get a soundboard and such. When I after I can afford it. So then we will. I will do that better. Alan W., is it fair to say that the fall of the USSR helped usher in the current state of neoliberal neocon politics and further Western imperialism? 100%. Alan W., 100%. Um, yeah. Okay. It also should be noted that in a lot of those former Soviet sphere countries, the neoliberals rushed in after the Soviet Union fell. And those neoliberals essentially looted those countries by establishing foreign corporations in those countries and things like that to get the resources. Yeah, and it could cause a lot of corruption and stuff into these countries today. I'm not saying it was good before. I'm not saying those places were great during the Soviet Union, but one exploiter left, another exploiter came in. Let's put it that way. Good. Okay. All right, folks. Great chats here. Again, we just need 4 more super chats, and I will put on the caller for anyone who's new in the chat. I know, again, self promotion. I'm going to get so tired of this. I think it was Jay Shadow yesterday who recommended I get a soundboard and just kind of click a button, so I don't have to keep repeating it. Jay Shadow. So Jay Shadow says, which is why I'm a reformist and not a revolutionist. Now, folks in chat, you've heard me say this before. So most revolutions in history have failed, and most revolutions in history end up with a dictator taking over. All right. Revolution would need to be the very, 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 very last choice. Not only that, but those revolutions are often extremely destructive with widespread and deadly violence that often gets out of hand and gets a lot of innocent people killed as well. So, yeah, it's not so easy as to just say, let's do that. I largely agree with Jay Shadow. Um, Revolution would need to be, I'm not suggesting, of course, that we would ever do like a revolution, you know, um, we're just innocent here, right? If the FBI is listening, but my point being here is that reform almost always better than revolution. Now, for the lefties in chat, I know that if we start talking about like Karl Marx and some of the revolutionary theory there might be some disagreement. I think historically that's one of the things that Marx was somewhat wrong about. But if you go to Discord, there is a lefty infighting channel, and we can hash it out there. Okay, folks. And it's not like okay. Big Braden says, and I feel like a lot of revolutionaries go a bit crazy, like that first French president. Yeah. Yep. Tiago, welcome back, Tiago. Not here in Portugal. We even had a revolution without almost any death. Hey, that's a fair point, Tiago. Occasionally, you can have a revolution that is not bloody. But again, historically, most of the time, revolutions are very bloody. There are some exceptions to that. So at some point, folks, I'm going to do extreme because there have been a few revolutions that have been super successful. Weirdly enough, one of them was the American Revolution. It was not a perfect revolution anyway, but I'm going to do a stream where I talk about what makes a revolution successful, why were certain revolutions successful and others not. I know, Big Braden. So Big Braden says, my only minor thing is that I feel pretty jaded on the idea that they will let us reform. I don't know. I'm kind of in the middle on reform. Hey, that is fine, Big Braden. I understand it. To be honest, that's where I stand too. But that is the last thing that I would, that would have to be like the absolute last thing that we do, in my opinion. It would be like, well, not we, of course, in theory, that people would do in the case of oppression, because I don't have a stomach for, and think about this country, especially all the guns that are out there. I mean, anyway, um, I know, bruh moment. Yeah, bruh moment says, I'm not a Marxist myself, but I find it really hilarious how a lot of the Marxist revolutions barely followed any of Marx's ideas. Hey, I'm with you there. Yeah, no, I agree, Big Brain. Hypothetically, right, Alan W. I'm sorry. Yes, folks, we are talking hypothetically here. Okay. All right. Um, one last thing I wanted to talk to you all about. This kind of goes along with what we've been talking. Sir Bartholomew couldn't agree with you more. Okay, I don't know if I should say that out loud, but everyone could read it in chat. Okay, I don't know if that go against YouTube's policies if I said that. Okay. And by the way, when it comes to that, fascists, I mean, they use violence. One of the reasons that they were able to come to power in a few places is because other groups were not willing to use violence against them back. So yeah, Macy Schroeder, I love that. I'm hearing a little song in my head, and then when you say it's okay to punch Nazis. Okay, so I want to talk about one last thing, folks. This has to do with what we've been talking about. So we just talked about the Trilateral Commission report. Now, something else that happened at this time. You know how obsessed I am with campaign finance and the corruption of our politicians. Well, there was something that also happened during the 70s. Now, this was before the Trilateral Commission report, but it's sort of in the similar vein. Fox Emblem. Fox Emblem, that man is another person who is a hero that should be talked about more. Fox Emblem says, one of the only founding fathers I really like is Thomas Paine, funnily enough. He was insanely ahead of his time. 100% Fox Emblem. Thomas Paine, he was one of these people that was like, it was his full-time job to just stir up revolution. He stirred it up in America. He stirred it up in France. He tried to stir it up in the UK, and he traveled around. And it's telling because I don't think there are statues to him anywhere. Not in America. I don't think there might be one to him in America, but there's not many statues to him because he was considered so radical. Very heroic guy, was also very anti, was basically, well, at the time, he was basically what would be considered an atheist. He was very against like the church, what he viewed as irrationality when it came to religion and stuff, which made him much different than people at the time. Yeah, he was a very cool guy. Yeah, good old Common Sense. I recommend folks, if you have a chance, read Common Sense. It's hilarious. He was a great writer. And he actually wrote a different book. I can't remember the name of it, where he talks about how, like, the kings of England are inbred, and that we shouldn't just listen to a despot who is there because they were born to an inbred. Like, he goes hard. Okay, he goes hard. And to the UK people in the chat, I hope you know I'm not trying to insult that. I'm just saying that he was very. I loved his form of writing. Yep, Fox Emblem. He was anti-slavery, pro-universal education. Hated the other founding fathers. When he heard that they were meeting to draft a constitution, he famously said, "I smell a rat." Okay, because he did not trust the government they would make. Yeah, yes, he did. He is based, absolutely. Yeah, he was born in England. Hey, Louise, you say you live near where he was born, in Thetford, Norfolk? I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong. Is there a plaque there or something? Is there a statue? I am curious. Thank you. Thank you. M68K or Macon, I'll just call you K. The Age of Reason. That's the one I'm thinking of. Brilliant. Even today to read, great read. Agrarian Justice, another great one. Okay. Yep, you're right, Resident Union Thug. Not a single memorial to him. And oftentimes in classrooms, he's not even talked about as a founding father, even though he definitely should be. Uh, another great hero. I've said this before. There are not a lot of, and I know I keep talking about white folks. I'm sorry, I am white. There are not a lot of white heroes that white people in the United States can look up to that haven't done horrible things. Thomas Paine is one of those people. He's a great, I mean, as in he's one of the people that you could look up to. John Brown, William Lloyd Garrison. Okay. I mean, there are a lot of folks out there, but they're not the ones that get focused on in history class. Okay, guys. So let me just talk about one last thing here again. If we get 4 more super chats, I will put on the jester collar. Um, would love to see it. For anyone who is watching who is not commenting, if you subscribe to the channel, you'll be able to comment. You also, if you want to support the channel, please sign up for a membership. You can do that by clicking the join button underneath my page on YouTube and joining for as little as 99 cents a month. If you want to become a supporter on Patreon, there's also a link below the video in the description. You can click on it for $5 a month. You can support the channel. Yeah. Okay. One last thing. I'm going to pull up one last document here. All right. So, let me see if I can open it up so you can actually see the original document. Here it is. Oh, will I have to actually download it? Well, no, I can just go down on this page. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Okay. So this was written in 1971. I will. Can everyone? I'm just making sure everyone can see it. I'll make the page a bit bigger. It's called the Powell Memorandum. And tell me in chat if anyone in chat has heard of the Powell Memorandum. I would like to hear that they have. I'm just my teacherly interest because most people haven't heard about it. So let me go back here onto the stream. So again, going with this idea that in the 70s there was a lot of pushback against sort of the democratizing effects of the 60s. This man right here, his name is Lewis Powell, okay? And he was a lawyer and ended up becoming a justice on the Supreme Court after this, and was one of the big architects of rulings that basically opened up campaigns to infinite amounts of donations, okay? He wrote a confidential memorandum, okay? Confidential being that it was meant to be secret except for the people that were receiving it. Okay. And in this memorandum, he submitted it to the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, which is an organization which is a collection of business leaders who sort of work together to promote the interests of big business. Yeah. Okay. He sent it to the Chamber of Commerce. He sent it to a bunch of politicians. He sent it to a bunch of other pro-business organizations. We don't have all the copies. We only have this one copy, but we do know it was sent to multiple organizations. And in this document, okay, hey guys, thank you for helping me promote the channel. I love that. And folks, it looks like we got 35 likes out of the 38 viewers. If you want to help spread the word, please like the stream. Thank you though. All right, so okay, so you know what, folks? Before I start this, you're all going to hate me, but I need a quick biology break. I have ads set to off, but I'm gonna just run an ad now because I can do it manually while I'm using the restroom. Okay, sorry about that. I know my dirty capitalist self. Please let me eat. Okay, all right. Here, let me. Okay, I'm gonna insert an ad, folks. I'll be right back. I'm just gonna quickly use the restroom. Give me a moment. Okay, folks. And we're back. Can everyone hear me? Is it good? Yes, I think so. Yep, looks good to me. Okay, folks. So, oh, hey, Jester Hat. Sorry, breaking the rules. Oh, geez, I left it. 1 second. Give me a moment. Okay, now we can get back to the disturbing stuff. Okay, let me put this these headphones on. All right. Ah, there we go. Back with my glorious chatters. Okay. So going back to what I was saying here, right? Oh, first let me check the chats and see if anything new came up while we were doing that. Getting here. You got a Matt Walsh ad? What? Joke's on you. Thank you. Good for you, folks. By the way, um, this is not, I guess this isn't good for self promotion, but I'll say it anyway. I believe it was Death Died Today who pointed out that if you download, I think, was it Mozilla Firefox, it'll block the ads. So anyway, just something to think about if you're interested in that. But again, I won't run many ads. I think that was like the only one. All right, chair ad, right? Big Braden says, excuse me. So, oh god, that was gross. I apologize. Okay. Big Braden says, Michael says in Washington D.C. there's only one public portrait of Paine. Yeah, that is. I've actually seen that great portrait. It's disturbing there's only one of them, right? Paine was kind of looked on as a radical by people at the time, especially the elites, like the American founding fathers, because they were most of them were slave owning aristocrats. So yeah, Big Braden says, "Get out the guillotine, guys. We got to seize the means. We got the means of production to seize." Laughing my ass off. So, Big Braden, it's funny you say that. So I'm going to see how people in the chat think about this. I have been considering for a long time getting a tattoo of a guillotine. But anyway, we will not talk about that more. I may eventually do it. Yeah. Okay. All right. Macy, so Macy, are you influenced? Are you going to buy whatever ad popped up for you? Okay. You get some of that Edward Bernays stuff. See, Winterlinde says, I've got solar panels and cell phone tariff. What about you? Oh, that's Matt Walsh has ads. That's awful. Um, uh, okay. Yeah, you can also use Jay Shadow. Good point. You can use YouTube Premium to also avoid ads. Geez, Oz, really? Oz says YouTube gives me some insanely toxic ads sometimes. I've reported so many of them, and it seems to help. Okay, well that's good then. Macy Schroeder, labor strike. I support that. Uh, Make it a tramp stamp. I might, I want to put it somewhere because if I'm teaching, I can't have just an image of a guillotine out in the open. So I probably, uh, uh, you know, have to put that somewhere where people can't see it very well. Maybe it would be a tramp stamp anyway. But some folks didn't get an ad. That's strange. Who knows? I'm not sure how that works really. Maybe some of you, I don't know. Maybe I think they said that it might go at different times for people. I can't remember. Um, Alan W says the hardest I've laughed in a long time was watching Matt Walsh cry about anti-white racism. Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay. Yeah, I am not surprised. Yeah, that's the biggest affliction we have today in America is anti-white racism. I'm gonna puke. Macy Schroeder. I'm not going to say that out loud, Macy, but very funny. Jay Shadow, it would actually make a sick back piece if you went full back with it. Oh, that actually, I might do that. I was thinking doing like a back tattoo of a guillotine and then have like socialist roses around it or whatever the case. It would be super interesting. Yeah. Jay Shadow, hell, use paintings from the French Revolution to give to your artist for a full. That would be fantastic. I would love to do that. Okay. But that's a fair point. Where's my coffee? I'm not exactly rich enough to get a full back tattoo at this point, but who knows? Who knows? If we get 5 super chats, okay, maybe I'll be able to afford that tattoo. Okay, no, it's okay. But if we don't, it's not the end of the world. And I will say, folks, it's okay if we don't get the super chats. It's not the end of the world. What I do is I then clip these videos, and I'll clip like the segments we've done and put those on YouTube, and then those get monetized. So it's not the end of the world if we don't get those. Okay. Yeah, you're right, Michael. Ads pay for the platform and are a reflection on society. Propaganda is what propaganda does, correct? Big Braden says, I can't believe Matt Walsh's Twitter bio. He's okay with calling himself a theocratic fascist. The normalization of these terms is deeply disturbing to me. Big Braden, maybe I could get a tattoo of Mark's, right? I think that would cost a lot because boy, was his beard big. All right, folks. So let's continue with this. So this, again, document was sent from Lewis Powell to a number of pro-business organizations, et cetera, et cetera. And in it, as we go down here, he says the following. I'm going to kind of highlight it with my K. It says he described that there is an attack on American capitalism or on the free market system. Oz, I would love to do that. You said Oz says my partner is an award-winning tattoo artist. Come get your tattoos from her. Hey, if I'm not sure, would you remind me where you are in the country, Oz? Okay, so basically, Lewis Powell goes on here to say that no thoughtful person can question that the American economic system is under broad attack. This varies in scope, intensity, and techniques employed, and in the level of visibility. There have always been some who opposed the American system and preferred socialism or some other form of stateism. And then he also conflates communism with fascism in that same statement. Okay, which is hilarious to me. Resident Union Thug, thank you for the super chat. Do I promise to get the tattoo if I get the money? Yes, absolutely, folks. If I am able to survive off this YouTube channel and do that, how about that? I will promise to get the guillotine tattoo if I'm able to do that. Okay. Okay, so continuing on here, he's saying that the American economic system is under attack. He also says, there have always been critics of the system whose criticism has been wholesome and constructive, as long as the objective was to improve rather to subvert or destroy. All right. He goes on to say, but what now concerns us is quite new in the history of America. We are not dealing with an episodic or isolated attacks from a relatively few extremists or even from the minority socialist cadre, which was basically, by the way, non-existent in America at the time. I mean, he's exaggerating. He's once again conflating like liberals and such. It is gaining momentum in converts. Okay, so let me tell you. So now he's going to go on to say who is quote unquote attacking the American enterprise system. So here we go. The sources are varied and diffuse. They include, not unexpectedly, the communists, new leftists being like 1960 reformists, things like that, and other revolutionaries who would destroy the entire system, both political and economic. These extremists of the left are far more numerous, better financed, and increasingly are more welcomed and encouraged by other elements of society than ever before in our history. Gosh, that sounds like a paradise, doesn't it? But they remain a small minority and are not yet a principal cause for concern. He goes on to blame more groups. I think we could all predict what who's going to blame here. The most disquieting voices joining the chorus of criticism comes from the following: college campuses, the pulpit, the media, the intellectual literary journals, the arts and sciences, from politicians. He later, by the way, goes on and talks about unions. Okay. Now, he goes on and literally breaks down what each of these groups are saying. Now, I'm not going to go too deeply into this, but he draws a conclusion to this. I'll get to the end here so we can see it. He basically says that by the way, if anyone knows who Milton Friedman is, he probably, is he still alive? I don't think he is. Maybe he is. He's probably burning in hell too, though. He goes on to say that in order that the business community, so as who was it that said this earlier? The bourgeoisie. Okay, the business community has been weak in fighting back against this. And the way to fix this is to begin using their incredible resources to push back against attacks on free industry, on the free enterprise system, including by forming lobbying organizations and other organizations using their vast wealth in order to create a narrative that is pro-business and to push back against any attempts to reform the business community. Okay. And as I was saying earlier, here, he ended up sending this to a bunch of business leaders and politicians, and he ended up being on the Supreme Court and was one of the folks who voted in favor. What was the name of the case? Was it Citizens United? There was another one too. I cannot remember it. I only researched this. Well, anyway, he was one of the ones who basically allowed massive campaign donations to politicians from corporations and stuff. And after he pushed out this secret memo, okay, there was a massive explosion. Correct, JK. That all that stuff is the Chicago School of Economics. Okay. And he, after he pushed out this memo, there was a massive explosion in growth of the number of pro-business organizations. The Heritage Foundation, chambers of commerce started getting far more politically involved. Corporations started donating tons more money to politicians. Okay. This essentially kicked off what we view as modern day campaign finance. And this document was sort of the start of some of our worst woes. Okay. I'm going to go down here. There's a part here. He says here, responsibilities of business executive. Okay. Business executive. And he's exaggerating, of course. Businesses were not under threat of losing their survival. They were still in a capitalist society. He says the overriding first need is for businessmen to recognize that the ultimate issue may be survival, okay? Survival of what we call the free enterprise system and all that this means for the strength and prosperity of America and the freedom of our people. Now, oftentimes in these kind of documents, folks, the word freedom of our people is not referring to like freedom for you and I, okay? It's referring to freedom of business owners to basically exploit their workers to do whatever they want in the society and to run the society. Okay, that is sort of coded language there because obviously it has nothing to do with freedom. Okay. And he goes on to say, the day is long past that when chief executive officers of major corporations discharge their responsibility by maintaining profits. They go on to say that what they need to do is that they need to be equally concerned with maintaining the business system as it is. So they need to spend their resources and stuff defending the free enterprise system at the same time that they're making profits. Otherwise, they will lose everything. Okay, and so that is that document, and that had a very big effect. He also talks about what we need to do to campuses, including he says colleges need to be defunded. The business community should not invest in them if they promote anti-free market sensibilities. He also goes on to say that another thing that they can do on campuses is open up their own organizations on U.S. campuses to push out their own propaganda to push back against these changes. Okay, we all see that happening today. That has been going all the way back to the time of the Powell Memorandum. Yeah, very much so, Big Braden. All right, guys, let me go back and see some of these comments here. I hear some banging around. I'm not sure what that is. If anyone can hear it, I'm sorry, but okay. Okay. Uh, let's see here. I want ring ring hey, jester tattoos for all. I would be very happy to get a guillotine tat. Yeah, or a jester. Oz, I agree. Oh, that's another tat I want. I want a jester. Obviously, it's like my obsession. Gracie, LSA. Oh, did we get another super chat? I think I saw. Yeah, we did. Thank you, Resident Union. Oh wait, no. We didn't get a new one, did we? Yes, we did. Thank you, Macy. I'm a bit peckish, craving something rich. Recipes. uh, Greg, welcome. Who's that? J.L. Rigori. Okay. Welcome, federal criminal slaves. Okay. Um, where's my coffee? I'm not proud of that. I got a tat in my 20s. Okay. Isn't all that stuff? Yes, it is. I feel like a libertarian I talked to once brought up Friedman. Yeah, Friedman was like the epitome of make everything, privatize everything, get rid of you know, basically libertarian in almost every way. Michael, the Joker can be linked to the Fool card and the Tarot, signifying a new beginning, a leap of faith, and the end of one cycle and the start of another. Michael, I love that. I'm not into tarot cards, but hey, that's kind of reflective of my life at this point. Okay, maybe this is a new beginning for me. Macy, Jester tattoo meets Spider-Man point meme, so it's like one Jester. Okay. Um, Oz says, F Citizens United in the bum, 100%, but they don't deserve that. That would be, I shouldn't say what I'm about to say. You can all guess. Okay. I mean, we don't want to reward them, right? Okay. I'm sorry. That's gross. I apologize. Okay. Macy Schroeder, why did it become, right? Uh, Free the rich from moral obligations. Yeah, exactly. Okay. Big Braden says, yes, the freedom to deny others their freedom. For sure, a libertarian. Absolutely. Where's my coffee? Let's talk about about welfare for the rich. You are 100% there, right there. Where's my coffee? So, by the way, you notice that when Doge was going around cutting things, they didn't touch any of the massive corporate subsidies that we send to oil companies and other companies. On top of that, there's something called moral hazard, and this is partially Obama did this, Bush did this, Trump did it. Okay, Biden did it. When businesses get to reach a certain size, it becomes very dangerous to let them fail because it'll destroy a large chunk of the economy. Personally, I think we should let them fail, but it'll cause mass unemployment. So it's called moral hazard because if you let them get too big, the government will have to bail them out if there's an economic crisis, which is basically massive tax dollar giveaway to corporations, and that is what we saw during the financial crisis. So a bunch of our tax dollars got sent to the wealthiest corporations, who then, by the way, used a lot of that money to give massive bonuses to their shareholders and their CEOs. Okay, we literally hand out money to corporations with our tax dollars all the time. Is this document available to read separately? Yes, I'll put a chat. I will put the link to what I'm using here in the chat. Okay, there you go. You can take a look at it. That's the Powell Memorandum. A lot of historical research has been done on it. Blows against the empire says, "God, good for you for standing up for justice and the truth so much. You were fired in spite of it." Thank you very much. Blows against the empire. I really appreciate that. Michael, 52 cards are said to represent. Hey, I believe that, Michael. I'm sure that's true. Oz says, "I recommend uh, shakshuka." Yes, oh, I support Oz there. Shakshuka is delicious. I actually have a sister, and she made it once, and it was absolutely delicious. Okay, yeah, I highly recommend it. Great dish. Macon, I used to be libertarian, but drifted into socialism thereafter. Macon, I actually talked about this before. When I was like in high school, I was a libertarian. But then I learned I learned more, and then changed that my mind. Were you familiar with Ron Paul? I remember him and such. Okay, disappointed that so many other libertarians instead went fascist. Yeah, yeah. Where's my coffee, Michael? Whoa, very interesting. Is this a coincidental or correlation? I see what you're trying to say there. Where's my coffee, Macy? Where's my coffee? Am I delusional, or are you also a YouTuber? Maybe. Winterlinde, Macy, wrap dates or dried plums in bacon. Bake for 15 minutes. Oh my God, you just opened my mind to something, Winterlinde, that I've never heard before. Should let it collapse so we could rebuild. Yeah, Fox Emblem, it might happen anyway. That being said, when societies collapse, again, lots of violence, lots of suffering, and we can lose control of the situation and a dictator might take over. I am not a producer, no, just a wisecrack old man. Okay. We love wisecrack old men in here, okay? Um, Macy Schroeder, have you made your own wiki page yet? No, I can do that. I'm kind of I'm not the most intelligent when it comes to online things. I mean, someone could do it for me if you want to. I don't like what you mean, like, have you made your own wiki page yet? Let's fight propaganda with propaganda. Fill it with all of our amazing, huge compliments and resources. Hey, we could do that. Not sure how we would go about doing that. Big Braden, yeah, I was like a centrist libertarian in high school, but hated conservatives and became more left. That was me too. Michael, fairy tales educate. No, you're absolutely right, Michael. So, fairy tales were kind of moral teaching for people. When they were used to be said, stories in general were used that way in different societies and cultures. Fox Emblem, violence and suffering, I know, but capitalism continues that irregardless of capitalism collapsing. We need to stay alive and advocate for good things. Fox Emblem, you're actually right. So capitalism utilizes the state and things like that to do violence. Now, that violence is normalized. It is considered legitimate violence because it's done within the system. There's lots of other aspects to the violence of capitalism. But that being said, the violence that can occur if a society breaks apart is much worse. And that I'm not excusing the violence in capitalism. Again, we can debate that. We should go on Discord and talk in the lefty infighting stream about this. Again, though, theoretically, I'm not ruling out that happening. I'm just saying last resort, if you know what I mean. Theoretically. Okay, guys. So excellent, excellent, excellent. So we've talked about good. We're done with this segment. Fantastic. I'm going to pull up my face here again. Hope you can all see my pores, etc. For those who are interested, face, 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 face. Ooh, doo, 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 doo. And face, 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 face. There we go. Hey, everyone. How's everyone doing? Okay. We need what? 2 more super chats, and I'll put on the collar. Okay. For those who are in chat who may have just arrived. If you want to support this channel, you can go to my YouTube page and click the join button for as little as 99 cents a month. You can help the channel. Or you can join Patreon also found in the description underneath this video. And for $5 a month, you can help support me and the channel. The members who are in here, there are many of them, their contributions their campaign contributions, no, not really, have allowed me to buy some better tech and things like that, which will allow me to improve what we're doing here, spread the word farther. Okay. Hating pores is propaganda. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, you're right, Leilane. Disney definitely did water some of them down. Okay, like I mentioned about Cinderella, like in the original story, they cut off part of her foot and things like that. Alan, you are 100% right. The streams are growing. Okay, the poll got 68 votes. That is so interesting. Where can I see that there are that many people watching? I don't see that anywhere. Like I see. I'm curious. Like from my end here, it looks like we've had 232 views. Well, I can look at this later. I'm still trying to get used to all this stuff. Casual Revolt, or sorry, um, Big Braden says, remember, if you don't super chat to Casual Revolt, it's because you're homophobic. Laughing my ass off. I am kidding. It's true, though. Why do you hate gay people? Okay, that's funny. Yeah, that's very possible. It could just be because 68 people came and went. That's very possible. Okay, guys. All right. So, well, what time is it? We got 12:14. So, oh, thank you. We got another super chat here. Thank you very much. Good content. I am quadriplegic, and a collapse would be ruinous for people in my situation. Also taught high school too. Thank you very much for that, GimpyG Gaming. That is very true. A lot of times when a society collapses, the most vulnerable people are the ones who suffer the most. I mean, I want you all to think about how many guns are in this country, and for example, how many groups, for example, of white supremacists you think might take advantage of that and go out with guns? And start attacking certain groups of people, or you know, you see what I'm saying? A quadriplegic individual like GimpyG Gaming would not be able to. I mean, how could some people might be able to flee? It might be harder for mobility. Like there are lots of things to consider here. Okay, so and actually, I am going to do a live stream sometime where I talk about civilizational collapse. Okay, and there's a lot of really interesting historical research on this. Thank you, Sir Bartholomew. Oh, okay, we've gotten the chat. Sir Bartholomew says, "Just fed a chipmunk, feel like a princess." Okay, let me take a look. I'm going to put on the collar now. I'm upgrading to my second evolution. Okay, for those who like Pokemon. There we go. This is better, right? Much more gestury now. All right. Okay, here we go. Let's see what else we got here in the chat. Thank you very much, Sir Bartholomew. Oh God, should I make another chat goal? I don't know. Okay, do we have suggestions on what we should do after we get 5 more? Should we do what I said originally? We could maybe. Or I could put makeup on my face. I'm okay with that. I do have my Jester palette here. Multiple options. Let's take a look here. We'll do, oh, I don't know. What should we do, folks? What should we do? Let's do, yeah, let's go with the makeup. That's a good point. I think I got a little too adventurous there, a little too caught up in the moment. Let's take a look here. 5 super chats. Set a timer. All right. Let's do that. There we go. Okay. If we get 5 more, I'll put on Jester makeup. Yeah. GimpyG Gaming. How do I join the Discord? Not seeing the link. Yeah, folks, it should be in the in the description underneath the live stream. If anyone could, I could probably pull it up real fast. Let me grab it for you folks. Give me 1 second here. Open up Discord. Right. Let me take this over here. This up. Right. Going to be placing it now in the chat. So for those who would like to join the live stream or the Discord. Oh, thank you, Resident Union Thug. Let's post it again. Okay. See, London, CR, you should react to the video I sent you in Discord. I think everyone will get a kick at how idiotic and misinformed it is. London, I'll take a look at that. I don't think I've seen it yet. Of course, Gimpy, welcome to the server. Okay. People there will be very welcoming, I'm sure. All right. Okay, folks. So we have some options of what we can do now. We could chat for a while. Bruh moment, thought of an idea for a name of streams where you mainly talk with chat. Casual side streams, chats, play on FDR. Ooh, bruh moment. One, as always, you are on to something. That is a really good idea. That's okay, Jay Shadow. I understand. We could, yeah, I could do that actually, bruh moment. I was thinking, I would, I'm gonna ask a question here in chat, folks. I was thinking of after this live stream coming on later. I really enjoyed our sort of just general chat we did earlier. Got a lot of Discord's going crazy right now. Here we go. Okay. Geez, Discord. Here, let me shut up Discord now. Discord, very very fun. Okay, here we go. All right, so I'm gonna just add. Would anyone here be interested in me coming back on later and doing like just a chat, like a regular normal chat, like we did yesterday? That'd be kind of fun. Regardless, so we have some other things we can talk about. I did want to look at the news a little bit. We can just kind of have some chill looking at the news, etc. Matt Saigai. We could do the email. You know what? That'll take some time. I have a whole document. So for those who don't know, yesterday I received an email from someone who's presumably a Zionist and attempting to basically criticize my stance on Israel and Palestine. Now, admittedly, this person was extremely respectful, okay, and they were very gracious. I know it sounds like I'm buttering them up a bit here, but they were extremely gracious in how they approached and such. But I've actually, in my inner teacher, if you go to Discord, I've created a thread where you can read it and add comments and things if you want to give me some advice on how to break this down. Matt Saigai has done a great job at this. I think it's also been Alan W. Who else? There were others who made some great comments on it. And in classic teacher fashion, I've actually created a Google Doc, and I'm going through and like adding comments and stuff, and it's like all red. It will take a while for us to do that. So I'm thinking we will wait to do the email perhaps tomorrow. We'll do it eventually. I'm sorry, Matt Saigai. I know I eventually said that we would do it today. I actually even have all the tabs pulled up to do that. But I feel like, it'd be better if we did it on a separate stream because we just got through a lot of heavy stuff. Yeah. But we will eventually, Matt Saigai. Gosh, I need to look at some of these. There's been so much conversation on Discord. I think I'm missing a lot of the things you guys are suggesting. I'll definitely take a look at that. London, or not London. I'm sorry. Who was that? Who did I say that? John Oliver. Yeah. Okay. So let's take a look at some of the news now. I am curious to see what is going on out there in this hellscape. Let's see what's going on. I can go over to here. All right. So we will look. I'm going to just New York Times. I'm going to do New York Times first. We'll look around. Okay. This will be all right. What? Something new happened with the Ukraine stuff? What? I'll go back to my live stream. Here we go. And just in the last 17 minutes, let me see what this is about, folks. Okay. Macy, yeah, that's fine. I was actually London. Oh, you know what, London? I totally forgot. I was going to allow London to sort of help restructure the Discord a bit. I think I forgot to give him those permissions. I will do that right after this. There does need to be some more structure. Still learning how to do it. Yeah, that's probably fair. Okay. Oh, I would love to react to Piers Morgan Ranch. Okay, what's going on here in Ukraine? I see here on my screen Trump backs Putin's. Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay, here we go, folks. I'm glad I have the jester costume on for this. Yeah. Okay. Yep. Here we go. So it says here in the New York Times. Oh, look at that. Look at them. Those two butt buddies. Oh, how cute, right? How cute. Okay. Let's go down here. Okay. Yeah, Jesus. Okay. It says here President Trump on Saturday split from Ukraine and key European allies after his summit with Putin of Russia, backing Mr. Why do they call him Mr.? He doesn't deserve that title anyway. Plan for a sweeping peace agreement based on Ukraine ceding territory it controls to Russia. Instead of the urgent ceasefire Mr. Trump said he'd wanted before the meeting. Skipping ceasefire discussions would give Russia an advantage in the talks, which are expected to continue on Monday when President Volodymyr Zelensky of Ukraine visits. See, why the almost said a word there, probably shouldn't have. Why the hell was did he not invite Zelensky to that meeting? What a monster. Anyway, it breaks from a strategy Mr. Trump and European allies, as well as Mr. Zelensky, had agreed to before the U.S.-Russia summit in Alaska. Yeah, of course. Well, of course. You think Trump would stick to anything he says to anyone? Like every 5 seconds, he changes his mind. Tariffs, no tariffs, tariffs, no tariffs. Okay, Epstein. The Epstein files exist. They don't exist. They're there, but we can't release them. We can't. Okay. Mr. Trump told European leaders that he believed a rapid peace deal could be negotiated if Mr. Zelensky agreed to give up the rest of the Donbass region to Russia, even those areas not occupied by Russian troops, according to two senior European officials briefed on the call. Okay, well, that's fantastic. Love that. Love that. Love that for us. That's great. Let's just hand over the land that many Ukrainians have died fighting over without any concessions from Russia. So good, great. Love that for us. Let's see what else we got here. In return, Mr. Putin offered a ceasefire in the rest of Ukraine so again, folks, a ceasefire is not the same as the end of a war. So the whole idea here that if Ukraine leaves the rest of the Donbass region, allows Russian troops to go in, but the war technically still isn't over. Do we see that? Okay. Do we see how that is not good? Okay. That is okay. That's basically just unilateral surrender. And then, of course, I would bet Trump thinks that his dear friend Pooty is trustworthy. Alas, okay, yeah. Look, and it says here, in return, Mr. Putin offered a ceasefire in the rest of Ukraine at current battle lines and a written promise not to attack Ukraine or any European country again, the senior official said. Good on the New York Times. They add here at the end, he has broken similar promises before. Yes, he absolutely has. Okay. Yeah, no, of course he's not going to. Yeah, he's not going to respect Big Brady. He's definitely not going to respect a ceasefire. Okay, that is absolutely insane. Everything in history shows that he won't. Okay. Not exactly someone who adheres to treaties, etc. Mr. Trump has threatened stark economic penalties if Mr. Putin left the meeting without a deal to end the war, but he has suspended those threats in the wake of the summit. The American president's moves got chilly reception in Europe. I wonder why, because they have an imperialist power on their border, okay, whose leaders have time and again seen Mr. Trump's reverse positions on Ukraine after speaking with Mr. Putin. Mr. Trump wrote on Truth Social early on Saturday that he had spoke by phone to Mr. Zelensky and some European leaders after his meeting with Mr. Putin. He claimed it was determined by all that it was better to go directly to negotiating a peace agreement without first implementing a ceasefire. I do partially agree with that. They should go immediately into a peace agreement because a ceasefire would be meaningless, given that Russia wouldn't follow it, never have. Yeah, no, that's a fair point, Braden. If they use that time to actually secure a peace deal, it could be useful. The last time they did try a temporary ceasefire, though, Putin continued bombing. Um, European leaders publicly and privately made clear that was not the case. They issued a statement that did not echo Mr. Trump's claim that peace talks were preferable to a ceasefire. Britain, France, Germany, and others threatened to increase economic penalties on Russia as long as the killing in Ukraine continues. Good on them. Okay. Mr. Zelensky, who was left out of the Alaska summit, said in a statement that he and Mr. Trump on Monday would discuss all the details regarding ending the killing in the war. Okay. Here's what else to know. Zelensky, Ukraine was left scrambling to piece together what Mr. Trump and Mr. Putin had discussed and striving to avoid being sidelined. Mr. Zelensky is heading to Washington on Monday. An official briefed on his call with Mr. Trump, and Mr. Zelensky said Kyiv does not understand why the American president suddenly dropped the demand. This is so humiliating, folks. Because folks, it makes them like it makes us as Americans look bad. Okay, I mean, yeah. Yeah, European response not good. Europe moves to back Ukraine. Good for them. Someone should. All right, so that's an interesting update there. I guess on Monday we'll find out what happens. Oh yeah, jeez. Okay, so the West Virginia governor is sending National Guards troops to assist in D.C. And that's what they need, right? We need more troops wandering the streets in D.C. Um, okay, let's see what else we got here. Um, Oh, for the any Canadians still in chat? I know there are, Big Braid, and it looks like Canada shut down Air Canada's strike that grounded hundreds of flights. Um, yeah, of course they did, right? Yeah, the Canadian government, of course they did. Um, where's my coffee? I couldn't agree more. I think, yeah, I couldn't agree more. Where's my coffee says the Dems need to stop soft peddling shit. I am sick of politicians aiming for the middle ground. I think most of the people in this chat would agree with you there. Where's my coffee? Hedonic treadmill. The only positive here is that Europe is stepping up due to Trump. Hey, no, I agree. It's actually granting Europe a newfound sense of gaining some independence from American foreign policy because they're having to rebuild their military industrial base so that they won't have to rely on the United States as much. They're kind of learning to work together more in the face of American obstinacy, things like that. Solidarity forever. Yes, sir, Bartholomew. Solidarity forever. The union makes us strong. Absolutely. Yeah, you're right, Big Brain. They apparently a lot of Canadians couldn't get home because of the strike. Um, of course they did. Of course they did. Right, Big Brain. These neoliberal governments. Um, yeah, are the same basically everywhere. Of course, Canada much better in many ways than the United States, but still, same. Yeah. Big Brain, would you remind me? Was it the last time that when there was it a trucking strike? That was it Justin Trudeau shut down. Yeah, some union smashing there as well. Okay, what else we got here, folks? All right. Yeah, look at this, folks. This is a concern for me. Yeah, right. I'm sorry, the post office. If you look out here, see ya, bro. Moment. Thank you for stopping by. Thank you, as always, for all your contributions, and happy birthday, bro. Moment. Okay. Yeah, yeah. Oh, that's right, Big Brain. I did forget about that. Okay. Real fast, folks, if you look up here, this is something else that disturbs me. This is something that isn't being talked about at all anymore is the fact that the world is about to be a giant stove. Okay. The planet will soon be uninhabitable for many people. Florida will be underwater. Puerto Rico will be underwater. Large swaths of the Indian subcontinent will be underwater because of climate change. That is one of the most pressing issues we have, if not the most pressing issue. And look at where it settles down on the New York Times page. It is near the bottom in a little square here. Environmental group faces generational setbacks under Trump. Okay, I mean, this is the weird dystopian alternate reality we live in. That the extinction of humanity and much of life on the planet is just relegated to lower down the page. Yep, massive food shortages likely, Michael. All right. What else we got here, folks? Let's. You all are going to love this. Let's take a look at what is Fox News talking about. Um, it is important, folks, and I know it probably is not good. I even go to their site because it probably helps them with something, but I think it's super important to say what uh, to see what like the other side is saying and what they're talking about. You'll often see they do not talk at all about the same things we see. Okay. Uh, Yep. Oh, that we should talk about that hurricane too, Alan. That's a really good point. The hurricane that's heading towards Florida, because we're going to get more and more hurricanes as there's more energy in the oceans because of climate change. Um, of course, look at this. Look at this. This is great propaganda. Look at this tough bargaining, and then they show Trump here. Um, they really should show him on his knees, licking the boots of Putin. Regardless, they do not. Um, uh, Yeah, look, Putin visibly frustrated by U.S. media during high stakes Alaska summit with Trump. Yeah, okay. Yeah, whatever. Um, Jeffrey sends down, okay. Ooh, new cancer vaccine. So exciting results. Denzel Washington crushes cancel culture narrative pushed by Hollywood. That's fantastic. Yeah. Here we go. Here's some nonsense. Let's take a look at what they say here. This one is titled, uh, yeah. This one is titled, expert flips script on Dems pushing cherry-picked crime stats to resist. They're not cherry-picked.
Sportsman's Warehouse helps you.
They are not cherry-picking the crime stats, folks. That's just a lie. Democrats across the country have been pushing back on President Trump's DC crime crackdown, citing statistics that reportedly showing that crime in the nation's capital is down. It is. And I don't know who this so-called expert is, but we can guess not a real expert. Okay. So it's interesting. You can see how the narratives on different sites and such. Hey, Mohammed, welcome back. Great to see you. Okay. It is kind of a poorly designed website. You notice, look at all the ads that pop up and stuff. They don't even try to hide the fact that it's just kind of a money thing. Okay. You know what? Now you actually since who was it? Alan that mentioned the hurricane. Let's go to the Hurricane Center. I think I've told you all, folks. I am obsessed with the weather. Uh, Those that know me know this. I've spent many an hour watching tornado and hurricane videos. Hurricane Center. I did read that there were some hurricanes developing that may be heading towards the U.S. very soon. Let's take a look here. Uh, yeah. So if you look here, you can go to the, which even though they've been very defunded, they've been heavily defunded by the Trump administration, the National Hurricane Center. We can see here there is right out here, Hurricane Aaron. Right now, I'm curious about where it is expected to go. It looks like it may actually dodge the United States. Um, yeah. Well, that's good at least, I guess. But there's always been these tons of reports saying we're gonna have a record-breaking hurricane season. Hey, Leah Lane, do we do detention or uh, Gimpy Gaming cancel culture? Didn't our streamer get fired for having opinions? Gimpy Gaming, I didn't say that. You did, right? But yes. Okay. Um, yeah, CEO, where's my coffee? Thank you for stopping by. Um, Leia Lane, do we do detention or demerits for those who come late to class? Yay, Macy. I would have loved to be a. Is that okay? I would have loved to be a meteorologist. Actually, I think that's very cool. I'm kind of a thrill seeker, so I would enjoy being like a storm chaser. Fox emblem. Um, says it keeps changing trajectory and likely will not miss the USA. Okay, that's fair. This is not the first time it's changed trajectory in the last few days in defying all expectations as it's a I didn't realize it was already a category 5 hurricane. That is insane. And folks, traditionally, if you see here on the map, you can kind of see my cursor as it gets closer to the US, and especially if it were to go into the Gulf of Mexico, those waters are warmer and warm water fuels hurricanes. If it's already at Cat 5, I mean, can we see the problem here? Um, Real life cat DJ. I hope that is a reference to Attack on Titan. Okay, because I love it. Uh, Guys, you guys are funny. Anyway, Alice, say, have they tried asking the Dems to turn off the hurricane? Yeah, that's fair. Well, again, folks, I keep reminding you. Remember when Trump literally was seriously considering and asking his advisors if they could drop a nuke on a hurricane, and would that stop the hurricane? So we live in a time that is beyond caricature. Okay, it's beyond satire. Yeah, you're right, Alan. They've used a lot of their FEMA money to build that concentration camp. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I say concentration camp? Detention center. Um, Ride the skies in Florida. I've seen hurricanes hit land, go back into the water, and come back to land again. Yeah, absolutely. They absolutely do. Uh, um, yeah, shockingly, Tiago, nukes don't solve everything. Okay, I know. I know. Yeah, yeah, it's insane, folks. I'm loving these comments. London, how dare someone say the truth and get away with it? I know, I know. This timeline, this is the worst timeline. Okay. USA or European model. I believe this is the US model, but you're right, there is also a European model. They typically are pretty similar, but there are some slight difference. Okay. Yeah, Big Braden, what did they expect him to do? Teach? Yeah, apparently not. Um London, is that true? God, I'm behind on my weather updates here. FYI, this hurricane went from a tropical storm to a Cat 5 in less than 24 hours. That is mind-blowing. JK, it's insane how much of everyday stuff has become political. Oh, you're preaching to the choir there, JK. We can't even have like a weather service that isn't politicized and defunded and things like that. We can't have a natural hurricane without Trump using a Sharpie to change his trajectory on a map. We can't. I, yeah, I think you all see where I'm going with this. Real life cat DJ love the Attack on Titan reference. Okay, I like love Attack on Titan. I have to watch it in little bits though because it's very dark and depressing. So, um, London says, yeah, the education system could never. Apparently, London. Uh, yeah, that's terrifying. Yeah, yeah, that's a good point. Do we remember when there was all that nonsense about how FEMA is setting up camps and stuff for people? So Macon says so now there are technically FEMA camps. Yeah, kind of. They took some of that funding and put it towards that alligator Alcatraz. Um, Mohammed, yes, absolutely. Mohammed says, "Are you also into disaster movies?" Yes, I am very much into disaster movies. If anyone who knows me can tell you. Um, Tiago, oh shit, I bought one because I thought that they did. I'm sorry, Tiago. No, your little mini nuke won't be able to help. I guess this isn't Fallout. Yeah, yeah, you're right, Macy. Not very good preparation for it. Let's see what Leia Lane says. Um, says if we only had a fully funded weather prediction centers, this could have said, yeah, absolutely. If anyone ever heard of Ryan Hall, he's a meteorologist on YouTube. I love his stuff. He openly came out recently and was basically saying how, all these funding cuts are going to make it much harder to predict the weather. So yeah. Um, yeah, there is there one forming in the Gulf? Let me go back here. I know there's one forming up here. There's a 10% chance of it forming into a tropical cyclone. I don't see. I guess this is the one. This might be the one you're talking about. But maybe there is one forming elsewhere too. Yeah, no, that's very true, Fox Emblem. Before all those cuts, scientists were actually very good at predicting hurricanes. They're pretty easy to see, folks. They're massive formations of clouds and rotation, and you can pretty easily predict hurricanes. But now that we're massively defunded, we won't get as up to date location things and stuff like that about the hurricanes, including also the tornado producing thunderstorms and things like that. And folks, I live in Tornado Alley. Now, Tornado Alley, which is Ohio, and now Tornado Alley has actually moved east over the years because of climate change. But for some of the Europeans here, or some of the people who aren't from the United States, there in some places in the United States, every week we hear air raid sirens. They are air raid sirens. It is a test to test our tornado sirens in case a tornado comes by, because we get a lot of tornadoes. So defunding those weather services are putting a lot of people, especially in Tornado Alley, at risk. A lot of them are lower income because a lot of these places are rural, not all of them. But yeah, tornadoes are, the United States I think, has the most tornadoes of any country in the world. And it is so defunding the weather service is not good for that. Okay. Um, um, Yeah, Alan, I hope Fox Ellman has a point, Alan. I hope you guys don't get a double whammy down there in Florida. Yeah, London, absolutely. One of the most idiotic changes I've seen in this administration. Absolutely, 100%. Very, very dumb. Thank you, Macy. Okay, Macy sends a super chat, says Oceana sent a hurricane to start another war. Almost certainly, right? Almost certainly, Macy. Okay. I love movies too. They're Big Braden. Ride the Sky says, in Tennessee, there was a vote to turn a private prison into an immigrant detention center. They used a small um, Karak, I'm sorry, in a small place with a large fan, making it hard to hear. People voted against. Oh, I see what you're saying, karaoke. Okay, and people voted against turning it. Yeah, next door to Ohio is Indiana, and in Indiana, they recently set one up there too, an immigration camp. Um, I'm sorry for these are a lot of good chats. I'm having to skip some of them because there are so many. Uh, Ryan, thank you, Macy. Yes, Ryan Hall, y'all. Please look him up. He's a great guy. He actually, so American news sources, TV news sources, there's actually a certain accent. I'm not exaggerating. They want their anchors to have a very particular accent because in the United States, there are certain regions whose accent is sort of discriminated against as indicating a lack of intelligence. For anyone who lives in rural America or in the South, I'm sure you've experienced this. Okay, the idea is that like rural accents, Southern accents, display a lack of intelligence. That is sort of the stereotype. So American newscasters, almost all of them have a Midwestern accent, like an urban Midwestern accent. Why? Because that accent has long been viewed as a neutral accent. It's not. There's no such thing as a neutral accent. Every accent is equal to each other, right? But for some reason, the Midwest accent is sort of viewed as neutral. So you'll rarely find like a newscaster that has like a New York accent or a Southern accent. And Ryan Hall, who is from Kentucky, has a pretty thick Kentucky accent. And one of the reasons he started this YouTube channel was because he was getting a lot of pushback from his employers when he actually was a newscaster, because they said he sounded unintelligent because he had a Kentucky accent. So you should definitely head over to his channel and support him. And he's really leaning into it now. That's why he calls it Ryan Hall, y'all. He's like, who cares about my accent? Like, I can do weather and stuff. Great guy. Recommend you see his channel. He does a lot of good live streams when there's massive weather events, and he's actually saved people's lives. So, Gimpy. I go by. Hey, Gimpy, you're in Colorado. Love to hear that. I go by. You can just call me Casual Revolt. I think some people have been saying CS. Whatever you really want to call me, it's fine. By others, I'm called the Cult Leader. and you are all known as the degenerates. Okay, no, you're not. I love you all. Okay. Uh, though I will say, folks, my father actually gave away my first name in the last reaction video I did with him. I won't tell you what it is, but if you want to go look, you can see it. Uh, Yes, real life cat DJ. Yes, the testing of these sirens is done at regular intervals. So, for example, here it's like if I tell you that, you might know where I am, but it's done at a certain time every week. Um, but it is, it's very loud, and there's one right near me. And yeah, for people who aren't used to it, I've actually had students from countries that who had lived in countries that are at war or from war zones, and they had never heard them before, and they'd be sitting in my classroom, and suddenly one of these air raid sirens go off, and these students will suddenly in an act of terror, run under their desks and stuff because they have not heard air sirens apart from the times when someone is about to bomb them. Um, yeah, you're so Big Brain, you're partially right. It's right below. It is right below Lake Erie. It's in right below Michigan. Yeah. Hey, max velocity's got good too. I will say, Jay Shadow, you're right. Max velocity is good too. Hey, that's great, Gimpy G Gaming. Yeah, that'd be great. His dad gets heated. That's true. My dad does get heated. Okay. Uh, yeah, 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 yeah. I'm glad, London. Yeah. Yes, everyone, please. Yeah, Mohammed, great question. So Mohammed here asks, maybe this is a stupid question. It's not a stupid question, Mohammed. But where do the air raid sirens come from? Does every street? So no, what they do, Mohammed, is that they space them out in a way where they can be sure that everyone can hear them if they go off. And they're funded by local governments. And I think there's federal regulations, some state regulations that requires that there be sirens, especially in areas that are very tornado prone. Uh, and at least once a year, we will actually have a real tornado warning here. Okay, the sirens will go off. Now, I have never been hit by a tornado. Where I live has never been directly hit by a tornado, but sometimes tornadoes will go near us. But it is a very common thing here. And yeah, those sirens are everywhere. And I'm not sure if anyone here like Gimpy Gaming is from Colorado. Do you have those there too? I know Colorado does have some tornadoes. Some of the east, I'm pretty sure Florida has them too. But yeah, uh, yeah, exactly, Big Braden. Yeah, yeah, my name is in that video. He accidentally called me by my first name there. Um, I mean, guys, I really don't care if you know me. I don't really care if you know my first name. My first name is Samuel. All right, Sam. You can just call me Sam if you want to do that. Okay. My issue here, folks, is I'm sure you can guess. I don't want my first name put with my last name for a number of reasons, and one being, some of my views I don't want to be targeted, obviously. But yeah, my first name is Sam. Um, so yeah, there you go. You can call me, you can call me Sam. You can call me Casual Revolt. I really don't. It's not the end of the world to me. Mohammed, thank you very much for the super chat. Um, yeah, Texas did not use those funds. Yeah, Big Brain, please try to swim across the lake and visit. um, I told you last week I was up at the very tip of Michigan in a place called Mackinac City, and then I went into the UP, which is the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, and I swear I could look across the lake there and see Canada. So I might next time I'm there I might yell out your name, Big Brain. Big Braden. Alice, that has happened before. I've heard horror stories where she says, we had a tornado come near our town, but forgot to hit the alarm. Yeah. Yeah, that happened. That's some of the most tragic incidents where tornadoes hit towns and stuff. Their tornado sirens aren't working or they don't trigger them correctly. Hey, I know real life cat DJ. It's okay. I mean, it's a common name. It won't help anyone. Okay, folks. Oh, Alan, of course I got fudge while I was up there. All right. Alan says, "Did you get fudge while you were there?" It's a staple. I grew up outside Detroit, so I'm very familiar. Yeah, I absolutely got fudge while I was there. I was visiting Mackinac, Mackinac City and Mackinac Island. Beautiful place. Uh, so, yeah, okay. It is. Yeah, love the fudge up there. Lots of fudge. Okay. Let's put it this way. Oh, that's gross if I say that. You just know if you eat too much fudge, you just better be near a. Well, never mind. Uh, yeah. Um, okay, guys, you think I've gotten through all these chats so far? That's fantastic. Okay. Um, oh, Alice says it was terrifying. It came so fast, I wasn't in, but the storm came out of nowhere and took off with my greenhouse. Jeez, that's terrifying. Alice Mohammed Ishmael. Hey, Casual, I've got a question. Do American schools still drills if there was a mass shootings? Yep. Uh, Yep, they do, and they did used to do nuclear bomb drills, though those were kinda humorous. I mean, they're not actually humorous, but they would have for the nuclear bomb drills, they used to have students get under their desks and put their hands over their head. I can guarantee you that if there's a nuclear bomb blast, that ain't gonna help anyone, okay? Yes, and they do school shooting drills, absolutely. I've been through many of them, they are terrifying. They will literally we will have to do you have to do all the things in the classroom you would do if there was a school shooter, and then someone will come around the school, make sure all the doors are locked, bang on your door and stuff, try to see if they can see in the room. Yeah, it's not good. Some schools actually do where they will pay consultants to come in with like I'm not even joking, like airsoft guns and things like that, and go around the school in a drill like that. I mean, yeah, this is the dystopian society we live in. Absolutely. Real life cat DJ. I love that. Yeah, if you eat too much fudge, you'll be well fudged. Yeah. All right, guys. Great combo here. So, folks, I am going to take a break here. I think we've been going for what? How long have we been going for? We've been going for boo 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 boo. Yeah, we've been going for a while. Let's take a break here. I may. Oh my God, Jay Shadow. I'm going to read what Jay Shadow has to say here first. My mom. Uh, Thank you. Well, first of all, thank you, hedonic treadmill. Yeah, I've heard that before. I look like Steve Hofstetter. Thank you for that. Great comedian. Agreed. Jay Shadow. My mom is a retired teacher. She was shot in the by an airsoft gun in one of her training exercises. Yeah, I mean, come on, guys. I mean, think about that. Uh, why do we need to torture teachers? Why do we need to torture students? Why don't we just fix the issue? Anyway, okay, you all know my thoughts on this. It's enraging to me. Um, yeah. Oh, yeah. Look up LSA and everyone else who. Uh, yeah. Thank you. 3 hours of stream time. So, folks, again, let me quickly do my last little spiel here. I will say, if you all are interested, I'll perhaps come on later. We'll just have a casual chat later. Not as much of the heavy talking. If anyone's interested, we can do that. So I will. I will do that later today. Let me quickly do my spiel here. All right, folks. All right. Can we see me? Excellent. Let me pull this up. All right. Um, yeah, and by the way, folks, and one last thing here. If you want to become a member, help support the channel, you can do so by clicking the join button below my page on YouTube, or you can become a member on Patreon and support me for $5 a month. Otherwise, if you are not subscribed, please subscribe. It'll help my channel. Also, please like the stream if you haven't already. It'll help me when I post the video to get more views on it and such. And here we go, folks. You all know what I'm about to say, and yet we shall always say this and always remember it. Okay. So What am I going to say, folks? Keep resisting. Never stop resisting. The easiest way you can resist is to think for yourselves. That is the easiest way you can resist. Think for yourselves. Today we talked about Edward Bernays and the massive amount of propaganda flying around us all the time in an attempt to control the way you think and feel about the way things are going. Resist it. That includes when you're watching me. I am human. I can make mistakes. Many of you don't know me personally. I could just be lying to you. I could be a crazy conspiracy theorist. You don't know. So never stop thinking for yourselves. Furthermore, we are currently we're living in a fascist moment. The best way to fight fascism is to make major reforms to the government and the society, because fascism thrives on people who are alienated with a democracy, people who feel like the democracy doesn't represent them anymore. The way to fight fascism is not to stick in the center. Centrism will continue to exacerbate the problem. We need major changes and major reforms. Lastly here, folks, on the wall behind me, you can see that there is a sword. Okay, that is Chainbreaker. Chainbreaker is legend to have killed 7 slave owners. Many people in this country and around the world have died gaining rights for themselves, protecting the freedom of others and themselves. We cannot let those sacrifices go to waste, not now and not ever. And in order to so we need to protect those sacrifices and what they have gained while also ensuring that our future is better. Okay? We all got that? All right. All right, folks. Thank you all for stopping by. I will come on again later. If anyone's interested, we'll have a more chill stream then. And until then, you all have a great rest of your day or night. Okay, bye-bye.